Alright. Oh, alright, Chad. Hello again. And welcome back to the, welcome back to Ratona's Wild, Bizarre Adventure. Last time, me and Kane, got through half the game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yes. Found out some spicy things, like the fact that, you know, I didn't actually go back and look at the jump scare. I feel like I'm missing important lore, but...
Not too important, it's just a neat little thing I didn't realise.
Yeah. But we found out a good stuff about our good friend Rune or Sarah or both.
Yeah.
None of it pleasant. We also found out that, in fact, a small child can, in fact, destabilize an entire government. Give enough time and psychopathy. Oh, and the whole, our kingdom's being blown up and we need to get the hell off this island before we're stuck here forever.
Yeah.
Too bad
We've learned that Rune's a certified sociopath.
But it's Sarah.
It's not about Sarah, but Rune definitely is.
Oh no, Rune's a lost cause. But is Eliza?
I'll have to find out.
Oh no. But yes, so we're gonna jump right back into it. We'll be going for not nearly as long as yesterday, but a little bit since either Twitch, OBS, or both wanted to completely explode. But it doesn't explode for this game, so I guess here's where I live now. So I have to jump back into
The stream gods demand more fault.
And who can blame
They
them?
want to know what happens next.
There's some manager at Twitch that's fucking pissed as hell we didn't play this game. Mad as hell. Alright. Excuse me, would you happen to be Albus? It's me, I'm back. And you are?
Yeah. We're Sarah's, friends.
Friends? Oh, I did that as a bit. I didn't realize he actually just questioned that friend. Unfortunately, I have to inform you that Sarah doesn't have any friends.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah. Her too? Perhaps you've misunderstood. Again with this? Beating around the bush isn't going to help. Let's just get straight to the point. We're, travelers. We, arrived in the city and were completely clueless. Sarah was extremely hospitable and accommodating to us. We're incredibly grateful to her. However, it seems that her goodwill worked against her. As I hear now, she's being punished for her actions. Leader of this Zevitz organization that you work for is apparently going to take measures against her. I heard all about this from Rudo, so it was you that... Please, can we speak with you, even for just a moment? I'm sorry, but we have our own issues to deal with as well. Even if you've come to me with all that in mind, this is not a matter that can be taken lightly.
About Sarah, when we first met, she had introduced herself to us as Rune.
Huh? What? What did you just say? Albus's brisk expression changed in an instant. It seems that anyone deeply connected with, will have quite the reaction to the name Rune. Now we just need one more push. I promise you, if this matter is not your concern, we will not press you any further. I understand this is incredibly presumptuous of me, but I simply want to confirm a few things. You've said that about 3 times now. I seek to have a discussion with you. An intellectual discussion. Shall we take this elsewhere, then? Yes! The master of negotiation. Our lodging is just on the outskirts of town. Is that alright with you? Just the 2 of you? Yes. What of it? Don't you feel that bringing a man back to your lodging at this time of night is rather careless? Careless? What makes you say that?
They might think I'm a player.
They might think I got mad gay. What does being a man or woman have to do with anything? You poor. I suppose this can be chalked up to cultural differences. Regardless, the answer is no. If you want to talk, let's do so in the park in the central square. At this time of day, there are still people around. It's much quieter than this place. Please, go ahead. I'll leave as soon as I settle the bill. Well, just what was with his attitude? Celestine? What's the matter? Man, you dropped that whole calling your princess thing. Oh yeah, right, we're trying to be inconspicuous. I keep forgetting that.
I have a feeling that, in this place's culture, men are still predominantly in a position of power.
What sort of fucking tip-top world are we in? That can't be. Considering how much our civilization has progressed, it's rather hard to believe.
You never know. Without any craft, then a normal girl can't really beat a guy in a fight. Rosenheid was like that before too, right?
We also entered a society where brute force means everything. Just how
Perish
long...
the thought.
I could never. Just how long ago was that? Still, that does explain his initial demeanor. I can't quite tell whether the city's progressing or regressing. Something on your mind?
No, it's just... I just thought that... It's kind of scary if that were the case.
Violent crimes, though seldom, still do occur in Rosenheid, but ones born from sexism are just about as non-existent.
That is true, but even when things as simple as this have to be explained to be understood, do you think we could ever understand each other?
You do have a point. However, if you become fearful from just that, the name Rosenheid will be tarnished. And as long as there are no major obstacles between us, I'm sure we can talk and reach a mutual understanding. Just not with the guy with the giant barrel, not the super dude.
Yeah, I know. Sorry to keep you waiting. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us.
By the way, who advised you to talk to me about all this? Oh, we gave Alice a short rundown of the events up till this point. I see. So it's hurts, huh? Is he doing well? Doing well. I suppose he is. If he weren't, he couldn't possibly be able to down that much alcohol. I see. That's just like him. If I may presume, does that mean that it's been a while since you've last met? Yes, it's been quite a while. Let's just say things happened. In any case, why don't we introduce ourselves properly? My name is Albus Falster. I serve as the CTO of Zevitz, CTO.
Yeah. Chief Technical Officer.
I thought that's what it was. I'm Ratona, a traveler.
I am Selphine, Ratona's fellow travel companion. It's a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance.
Excuse me, I have an unrelated question that I was hoping you could answer. That's been bothering me since yesterday. You mentioned some sort of title, but I don't understand quite what it means. Rudo also mentioned something similar. A CTO. A CTO. It's short for Chief Technical Officer. You can think of it as the person in charge of the technical side of things. I see. I think. Rudio is the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer. I'm getting a rundown of corporate. In other words, he's at the topmost position of the Zevitz enterprise. Well, it's a lot easier to understand. It seems that these titles serve as positions when introducing oneself.
Chief Executive, so basically like the President?
Well, technically not quite, but, well, the nuance is the same.
I see.
I take it your home country doesn't have entities such as corporations? Wait a minute. But, do forgive me for commenting, but if I'm not mistaken, you appear much older than Rudo Zavitz. So how is he allowed to wield absolute authority? Huh. You're straight to the point, aren't you? Well, you have a point. Rudy was a mere 22 years of age, after all. 22? Just 3 years apart from me?
He's just 3 years away from Ratona.
Well, with that expression of his, amazing, isn't he? He's so much younger than I am, but he's been able to run a company this huge so well. So,
do you mean he's the leader of a really huge organization?
That he is. In terms of sheer scale, Zevitz is the largest on the entire outer pole.
Well, then, is there some kind of ceremony for those people for them to become leaders?
Ceremony?
Yes, a ceremony.
Well, it's not quite a ceremony. Unless you're referring to promotional parties?
Party?
It's a celebratory event.
Well, during our travels, we've heard of this country. Whenever they choose their next ruler, using a ceremony called Path Down, they inherit all of their predecessors' memories, experiences, and knowledge. It's kind of a culture wherein the descendants, the next generation, will be able to gain the qualifications they need to be the next ruler. A path down that continues across many generations bolsters the country's strength, and also shows a strong unity with its citizens.
Is that true?
For someone so young to inherit such a large kingdom, well, company, in this case, he has to be qualified to be. So you'd need a ceremony like that, right?
By inheriting knowledge, I can take that to mean they are educated and groomed by their predecessors.
Educated? Well, that is part of it, but it's not something as indirect. The experiences and knowledge are directly transmitted.
Albus tilts his head. Directly transmitted, not via speaking. There is no such thing then. Us folks in the outer pole have to use words, speech. More concentrated forms of communicating to convey what we're thinking and feeling. We have to actually talk out our problems. It's horrible.
Yeah.
There are no other ways for us to do so. It's impossible to directly transmit knowledge, as you say. I suppose that in the outer poles culture, there is no such ceremony to install leaders, as you mentioned. Why do you ask?
Well, that's because...
We're wandering around different countries, traveling to learn and study more about the world, you see. By experiencing all sorts of cultures, we'd like to expand our knowledge on the vastness of this world. That sounds like quite the undertaking, especially considering the world's state of affairs lately. I envy you both. If I weren't from the outer pole, I would have loved to travel the world as well. Oh, but I digress. Get back to the heart of the matter. For confirmation's sake, you said that Sarah introduced herself as Rune, correct?
Yep. You knew about Rune, didn't you, Albus?
Did I know her? We were like family up until she died. Rune and Rudo's father, Sid, we had been very good friends. Sid and I built Zevit's enterprise from the ground up. Impressive. He's quite the influential individual. Hertzwan sure knows a lot of people. Also,
Had been. Had been? Does that mean Sid is...
He passed away about 3 years ago. But Rudio's still 20 years old. He's still been awfully young. There's quite a long story behind that. In last chapter, it took up half.
Well then, could you please tell us about the relationship between Rune and Sarah? Are they one and the same?
We're completely in the dark about what's going on. Please, tell us more about Sarah. Just who is she? Is that even her real name? Her real name, huh? That name is a term we use in order to pertain to Sarah. As for whether it qualifies as a name, well, I suppose that depends on your definition of what a name is.
Judging by how you're referring to her, should we take that to mean that she really is being treated like a slave?
Excuse me.
We are merely travellers and know nothing of the customs of this land. However, from where we're from, treating people as belongings is something that should never, ever be tolerated. So right now, we can't even hide our astonishment regarding this state of affairs.
I see. You two were born and raised in a very good country. But just to clear up any misunderstandings, I have to inform you that she is no slave. It was just a few decades ago that slavery was outlawed in this country. Although there are still some wretched folks out there who still practice it in absolute secrecy. That makes even less sense. Why do you refer to her as if she were an object? Precisely because she is one. Are you telling me my boy Rudo pulled a fucking ion and made a robot? Fucking it can't happen again! You asked about her name earlier, yes? The word Sarah is a term we use to refer to her. It means Synopsis, Architect, Review, and Assessment. We took the first letters of each word from the title of the report written up when she was first constructed. That's why it technically isn't a name. It's an acronym. What? Constructed? That doesn't make sense.
Sarah was made?
Sarah's a product of Zevit Enterprises' last president, Sid Zavitz, created to handle Mana-related tasks in the Outer Pole. Sarah is a machine. You gotta be joking.
A machine?
Although our company, Zavitz Enterprises, is well known for mana to energy conversion and energy supply services. Wait just a minute here. A machine? By machine you mean like something like a clock? Well, it's certainly on a completely different dimension of complexity, but yes, in a sense, I suppose I do. With all due respect, I just cannot believe that. Well, I suppose most people wouldn't. Machines do not possess sentience, do they? Whoever was with us yesterday was clearly sentient and had a strong sense of self. She was aware of her surroundings, knew right from wrong, exercised judgment, and was able to display compassion for another. Intriguing. Would you happen to be acquainted with philosophy? Not really. I wouldn't say I'm on that level of familiarity. When asked on the difference between what is and isn't human, being able to go straight to questions about its perception ability is proof that one has been thoroughly educated in these matters. Your homeland truly must be rich in a variety of aspects. This. Wait just a moment. In regards to your assertion that Sarah is a machine, all I can see is an excuse for you to treat her as you do now. I'm answering your questions, fully aware that you most likely will be in disbelief. You're free to believe me or otherwise. In fact, if I were in your place, I probably wouldn't believe it myself. Realistically speaking, there's no way to verify your...
Ratona, let him speak, okay? In any case, we're both at a dead end anyway.
This way we can see...
This way we can tell if he's telling... Yeah. This way we can see if he's telling the truth or not. Okay?
does mean to use that, then. Very well. The young-looking girl seems to hold the power in their relationship. Quite intriguing. Who doesn't want to get bossed around by blonde people? Regardless, we still find it difficult to swallow your claim that Rune is indeed a machine. Perfectly sensible. To be honest, much of it remains a mystery to myself as well. Didn't you make the thing?
Albus, no, Sid made it.
Oh, of course. Yes?
If you don't mind, we'd like to show you a kind of craft, if you so please.
Monocraft, you say? Are you two monocrafters?
Yes, we are monocrafters who've come from a country far away from here.
You said you were travelers, but to think you were from the Inner Pole. Are you sure about this? Consider where you are right now. What about Monoshock? According to Rudio, we still have 3 or 4 days remaining. We are shouldering that risk by voluntarily being here. I see. I think I have a grasp on how gravely you two view this matter. Seeing as you're willing to divulge all this, should I take it means that you're deadly serious about all this?
It wouldn't be fair to keep one-sidedly asking you for your information, after all.
I do appreciate the sentiment. But unfortunately, oh, hold on. I don't have the time. No time. Stream. Not the stream, but the Discord thing itself is lagging out. 1 second. Come on, Discord. Come on. There we go. Okay. I'll essentially be trapped in the office from tomorrow until next week or so, with little to no free time to spare. Still have some matters to attend to after all this as well. That won't be an issue. This cravat will be over in the blink of an eye.
Just as she says, this craft won't take much of your time.
Not quite sure I follow. What should I do exactly? For the meantime, all I need is your trust in us. All we should do is exchange information with you. Is there any information or knowledge you'd like us to impart that we can share it directly with you at the same time? Sharing information directly.
Before we go any further, this means that you don't have any reservations with talking with us, right?
Yes. Though I do have my limits. It's just that I don't have time to explain everything in full. It's alright. You'll understand in a few minutes.
Will you trust us?
Okay. I trust you.
Thank you very much. Alright, Retona. Could I have a little manner?
Your wish is my command. Good grief. This is quite the turn of events. I can't believe I actually get to see Minecraft performed in the flesh. Now I'm a little anxious.
We'll explain further on the other side. Now...
Other side? I got friends over this. Won't you shake this poor princess's hand? Cellophane? Celestine had already begun converting mana. She's so concentrated on the task that she doesn't even notice my speaking anymore. There's no
naturally present mana, so my internal mana isn't stabilizing. I didn't expect conversion to need this much concentration and stamina. Just how did Returner create a sword so quickly?
skill.
Alright, this should do it.
Celestine opens her eyes wide. It seems that she's finished preparations. Is it just me, or are her eyes more radiant than before? The sheen of her hair, too. Even her skin seems to be radiating a weak light.
Shall we begin?
Yes.
Excuse me for a moment.
Celestine presses her right index and middle fingers together and lightly touches Albus's temples. Are you alright? It seems to be taking longer than usual. Perhaps because we're in the outer pole?
Yeah, it's been a while, so I'm a little nervous.
No need to tense up so much. This cravat isn't going to be of any harm. Phew. That's what you say if it was going to be.
Your body will warm up a little, as if you'd done some light jogging.
I see.
Now, if you please. Bless.
Understood. Whoa. What a strange sensation. I can feel my physical body, but my consciousness is sinking. Like it's getting sucked into a deep darkness.
Okay, I've established a link with you, Albus. Next is Returner.
Returner as well. Celestine serves as the intermediary connecting the three of us. That allows all of us to share our consciousness. Is that even...
What we will now conduct is referred to as a mind dive. It's a type of comcraft which is mainly used to establish links between the consciousness of one or more parties. How do you feel, Albus?
This all feels very strange. The sounds around us are slowly fading away, and my consciousness is becoming trapped inside. Inside there's a girl, Celestine, whose existence is growing more and more pronounced. This man is taking this surprisingly well.
We're just about ready to, Returner. Could you bless, please?
Understood. Suddenly now Return is joining my consciousness. All of this is truly... There are no words I can use to describe this.
Let's begin.
This place is... Lab 9? How did we get in this place?
This place is called Mediastore. It's a space serving as a materialized form of your subconscious.
The manifestation of my subconscious is work. Damn! The manifestation of my subconscious. Did my thoughts just flow out without my knowing it? We are currently in the realm of your subconscious. My subconscious.
All the things you wish to ask us, and any information that you allow us to know, is conveyed to us purely as is. In that sense, you ought to be able to hear my own thoughts as well.
Her mouth isn't moving, but I can still hear her voice.
I'm sure this comes as quite a surprise to you, but I'm sure you'll quickly get used to it.
I see. I put it. It's as if I wandered straight into a fairy tale. Normally, this mind dive is supposed to last but a moment or two. Conversation will normally last a full hour, but take a split second.
Though sometimes circumstances can cause it to take longer. Most of the time when there are multiple people like this, it does take quite a bit longer. This time, since there's 3 of us, and so that it's less alienated to Albus, I've structured it as a more of a conversation between us.
I'm grateful for that, I suppose. Now I'm the one who can't follow the conversation. Should I? Now I'm the one who can't follow the conversation.
I can tell you're pretty nervous about all this, so I'll try to explain it a little better. As Ratona said, Mediastora is a space manifested from your subconscious. In here, there's no distinction between truth and lies. The only thing here is the manner within your body and mind. It contains your pure, unadulterated memories and the unconscious mind that allows you to convey.
Conveying my memories, both my conscious and subconscious?
Humans do have some memories which they'd rather not let others know. Your conscious and unconscious self have the right to choose what to show us and what not to. There are things you feel you must tell us, and things you feel you mustn't. For these sealed-off memories, even someone like me, who can freely use Mind Dive, cannot peek into those.
Essentially, except for the things you choose to tell or show us, the rest of it will not be conveyed. I can't believe such amazing technology actually exists in this world. Oh, now I get to add my own explanation of how all this works, because Blimba's company, one of the the fucking LCB thing, the scientist guy in that, distorts himself on purpose, and while we're in his mind dungeon, he actually does that he purposely can manipulate it. So if you're strong enough will in Limbus, you can kind of do something similar when you distort. The mind dive is a peculiar cravat. Now we explain it the 4th time. Only those who can use the path down are able to utilize it. Basically, it's a cravat only royalty can use. It's not something that needs to be shared, so I'm keeping those thoughts and memories closed off. That's so. I don't fully understand, but that means we can take our time here and discuss whatever we wish at our own pace. No, we don't need to go about it in such a roundabout manner.
You should be able to communicate via senses as well. Once you open up, the information we need to exchange, whatever you'd like to share with us, should freely flow out.
Huh? Nothing's happening. It looks like we need a little bit more time. I suppose this is what it's like with dealing with someone from the outer pole. The flow of internal mana is a little stagnant. It'll take some time for it to react.
Why don't we relax for a little until you get used to it?
Sooner or later, you won't have to speak. Instead, our consciousness will just freely share information. Alright. Still, this really is quite a strange experience. It's like I can see straight into the two of you. Your personalities, your humanity, I can perceive it directly. And we can say the same to you, Albus.
This room represents who you are as a person. The space is clean and well organized, the lighting is just right, the entire area is stable.
It's a sign that your thoughts are coexisting amicably with you. If the compatibility is off, then the incongruities in one's personality would either reject a mind dive entirely, or the space of the Milestone would be dark and warped. I say. Appreciate the compliments, but I'm not exactly the nicest person there is. The truth is, I've had some doubts about you two, that you may be industry spies. For all I know, you might have been sent by Heves. Fucking Heves. We've known. Rather, we'd felt that from him we felt that from him some time back. But now, I see it so clearly now. Like the anxieties in my heart are being cleansed. The two of you truly, simply want to talk with me. And more than that, the two of you are true. The two of you truly are worried about Sarah. Oh. It's begun. What's happening to me? What's happening? What have you done to me? When discussing the Zevitz siblings and Sarah, there is another vital person we must discuss. Sid Zevitz. He is the founder of the Zevitz Enterprise and the father of Rudio and Rune. Zevitz family was never an affluent one. Born the eldest son of the family, ever since he was a child, he was different from his peers. I've been with him since I was young, and we were practically brothers. Brother! Of all the people who I'd grown up with in the slums, he was the only one I remained friends with till the very end. Sid's father was reprehensible. A worthless man, an alcoholic who became violent with his own family. Truly savage. He wouldn't lift a finger to do an honest day's work, instead using his shady connections for get-rich schemes, or to smuggle large amounts of purified mana into the outer pole. When Sid was 9, the man said that he would leave to find work elsewhere, and promptly disappeared from Cadia. Sid had to take care of his weak mother all by himself. At that time, the idea of using mana for energy hadn't existed in Cadia. Instead, we used coal or kerosene to make it through the winter. The winter cold was so harsh there were numerous casualties every year. It was where we lived, the slums, that were always hit the hardest. If we only had some kerosene. Until he lost his mother, Sid had often repeated the phrase. He and I did our damnedest, working with everything we had to keep his mother in good health, but of course we were still only 9 years of age. Whatever we made never amounted to much. After 2 years of painfully struggling, Sid's mother passed away when we were 11 years old. That year, something inside of Sid changed. He had always been prejudiced against the world, cursing it every chance he got, but that changed completely. Perhaps he came to an epiphany. Unless he changes, the world will swallow him up. And if he goes on like this, his life will be amounted to nothing but him crawling in the dirt. He accepted the unjust brutality of this world. With his mother's passing, Sid was alone and free to do what he wanted. Whenever he had time, he would talk about Nana. At that time, he was so completely beyond me. Sid's father, who he so hated, was obsessed with mana. Although he had hated it, he continued to pursue it, which wasn't something one would expect. Unlike his father, however, he wasn't interested in short-term get-rich-quick schemes. While we continued working in the coal mines, he would pilfer sediment that had trace amounts of colored mana in them, bringing them back as research material.
Owie.
That foreman's in a pretty bad mood today, too.
I knew this was going to be some hard work, but I tell you, being a coal mine worker ain't something the human ought to do.
It barely pays enough to put food on the table, too.
My joints are all screaming in pain.
He's dying. Still, we gotta consider ourselves lucky to even still have work. Looks like this year's winter is gonna be incredibly cold as well.
Well, at least it's freaking hot while we're working. I'd rather be moving around and working than just sitting around in a school all day. It's way more fulfilling. Who the heck would want to waste their childhood in a tub like that? Not me, that's for sure.
Fuck education. Fuck that education. You have a point there.
Oh, right, Albus. Let me show you something really cool.
What? What is that?
That's right, it's sediment. There's not a lot of it, but there's definitely a little bit of colored matter inside.
Where did you even...
While we were mining, that coal mine might actually be a mana mine.
What have you done, Sid? Don't tell me you're going to sell that. No, that's dirty money. They'll find you and they'll throw you in prison.
Oh, don't be stupid. Like I could sell such a valuable sample.
Sample?
Actually, Sid, this isn't the first sample I found. The first one I found was smaller than a pea. But the deeper I dug, the sediment just kept getting bigger and bigger.
You've been sneaking out sediment for that long.
Look, just listen to what I have to say first, okay? I made a pretty interesting discovery. Come by my lab later.
Laboratory? You mean your house, right?
Oh, come on, the name's pretty important, okay? If I said my place, it wouldn't get you fired up.
I'm struggling to understand your logic here.
Look, just pay me a visit, alright?
Besides, we could just head straight there, couldn't we?
Oh, well, I suppose we could, but... Today's the day when my mum, you know... I thought I'd leave her a flower or two.
Let me see. It's already been that long, huh?
Anyways, just meet me at my laboratory. See you there.
Fast forward a few years later, we began to immerse ourselves in colored mana purification research. We did all sorts of absurd experiments. Sid loved high-risk experiments, a trait he married even inherited from his father. On one occasion, he suffered a mana shock and ended up being able to move his left arm. As I continued to support Sid, we both spent our adolescent years in mana research. Every day, every single day of it. We toiled as if possessed by the god of mana themselves. After countless failures, we finally succeeded. But finally, we were able to purify colored mana. This isn't self-praise or exaggeration. It truly was the discovery of the century. The news quickly spread throughout the entire outer pole. Then one day, we began to look for investors who were willing to commercialize the mana system. Why? Tell me, just what was all that hard work for then? What exactly are we going to do if we don't look for investors?
The conversion efficiency with just this filter isn't good enough. If the sediment has low mana concentration, then that means there isn't going to be enough energy. Just how much time do you think it takes to convert enough energy to match a candle that lasts burning for 3 hours? At this point, mining coals is still more efficient.
Well, of course, our research is just in its initial stages, so if we continue our line of research, then...
By the way, have you heard of electricity before?
Electricity? Oh, are you talking about the person in the third sector who's trying to control the energy from lightning?
That's right.
But from what I hear, that technology is still in its infancy. Not only that, it's quite dangerous. According to the opinions of the Board of Science, it probably won't see any widespread use anytime soon.
The opinion of those idiots over at the board ain't worth their salt.
True.
If mana didn't exist, then I sure as heck would be looking into electricity too. Besides, if we're talking danger here, Mana's just as guilty. It might be that Mana's way more dangerous than electricity.
What would make you say that?
Our left arm's been acting up again lately.
Does it still hurt?
Nah, not exactly. It feels like it's, I don't know, weird, like it's slowly being eaten away by something.
What in the... Has it been that way since you were able to move it?
Nah, just recently. I didn't say anything at first because it didn't really get in the way of work, but it's been hard to ignore lately.
I wonder what's causing it.
No clue. But one thing's for sure, there's still a whole lot of unknowns we've yet to discover about Mana.
As a result of further research, we succeeded in generating a stable, usable amount of mana. In the meantime, we managed to meet willing investors who were interested in our work, despite our youth. We sure got lucky. I commented, but Sid said, "No, we made this happen in response." He was the type who hated any fatalistic mindsets. A few years later, everything was going smoothly. Thanks to the investors, Zephyt's enterprise was established without a hitch. At the same time of the founding, Sid married the girl from a neighboring town who had entered the company. Her name was Elaine Crossrow. She was unnaturally beautiful. She had unnaturally beautiful emerald eyes and pearly white skin. Outspoken and imbued with a strong sense of justice. However, she'd been born with a weak constitution, much like Sid's mother. Elaine's wish was to benefit other people and the world. She was the type of person who could change the atmosphere just by being there. No matter how rebellious or contrarian someone was, they would immediately become docile and obedient when faced with her. One couldn't help but think of her as a good person. Regardless of logic or reason, she was a simple, truly lovable human being. There wasn't anyone who wouldn't be inspired by her zeal. As Zevitz grew in power, so did its profits and efficiency. It continued to devote itself to the greater good. It didn't reach its peak efficiency, but when the winter came, it managed to cut casualties down to less than half. The company continued to gain influence. As we continued to grow in fame and fortune, Rudo was born. Or Rudio. Rudio. He was truly a brilliant child.
Rudo's right.
Oh, is it Rudo? Yeah. However, having inherited both Elaine's kindness and his father's wisdom, Rudo was truly a good person. We lived our days in happiness.
And all that changed.
Fucking... I had to go for a second kid, huh, Sid? Good job. At the time, we hadn't realized. Somewhere, unbeknownst to us, we created a giant and powerful enemy. Hey, Sid. Eleanor, have you heard about hives?
That's the company of that idiot who tried to control lightning, right? Of course I have.
I have too, and none of it is any good. The filter they're using, that's the one that Sid designed. Shouldn't we do something about them?
Who cares? Honestly, I don't even know what they're trying to do with those old relics of filters.
But that clearly means he's painted a target on your back. He must be bitter that you ruined his plans for electricity.
That bastard can do whatever the hell he wants to. He failed to make electricity sealed. He's got to succeed. He's got a grudge against us, and now he's sticking his neck into the mana industry. And to top it all off, he uses the product that his rival designed to start his own company.
He sure has guts, I'll give him that. That kind of audacity sure reminds me of a certain someone.
Huh? Don't be stupid. I wouldn't do anything like that. He's got no vision.
Touché. Fair. But You have a point. What does he hope to accomplish by using those filters? That's a losing strategy when going up against us.
Well, who knows? We're up against someone who's trying to use his ideas against them and live. You'd be surprised how tough a nut job like that is to take down. What's wrong, Ali? You're looking pretty pale.
I have a bad feeling about all of this.
Huh? How come?
It's just, everything's been going so smoothly for all of us. Something's got to happen, sooner or later. Calling it now, the dude's using old filters to try and blame Sid when they fail. Calling it.
Ooh. Hey now, you talking about karma? We ain't done a single awful thing to anyone. Why do you think we need to pay back for all the happiness we've been experiencing so far?
I suppose so. A few years later, Ruin was born, and thus the beginning of the end.
Ah, shit.
Now! With almost inexplicable timing, Hives experienced an explosion of growth. Despite being of no competition in terms of experience with Mon and the underlying technologies, they managed to one-up us in terms of business acumen. Their expansion was absolutely unprecedented. No one was able to anticipate that Hives would gain enough power to compete with Zevets in just a few short years. Mana has likely become a dangerous substance to us residents of the Outer Pole, just as it had been to Sid when his left arm was affected. Make one mistake, and you could lose your life. Sid knew that well. Because enough investors for the company were secured, Sid had been able to prioritize development of medical treatments when Zevet's enterprise was first established. Elaine spearheaded the charge, having Zevets assemble every skilled doctor around and found Zevets Medica. People had to undergo proper training to handle mana as part of their work in Zevets. Zevets dedicates resources to educating and training its employees. However, it takes time to develop competent mana miners and sediment handlers. Regardless, developing skills, educated personnel, and providing a safe work environment were top priority. On the other hand, Hive's strategy was to completely ignore all such safety protocols, exploit the poor economic situation. Hive's strategy. Process 1. It's a drug extracted from mana, creating humans who could continue to work without sleep or rest, who could produce antibodies that could combat mana. Considering Rune tried to use that as poison, I'm guessing that didn't work. Further, the subjects of the drug were promised lifetime employment. Immunity to low-level mana shock and a superhuman strength. Oh, that's what the big dude was. Hive's poured its efforts into marketing itself as an entity that could grant those kinds of abilities, serving to excite its subjects all the more. The masses ate up Hive's hyperbole-filled slogans. Hyperbole, whatever.
Yeah, hyperbole.
Every time I have to fuck it up twice and I'll be like, oh, that's that word. It was a devious strategy that resonated with everyone at the time when employment was at an all-time low.
Hey.
That was just too much.
Yeah.
The after effects on subjects, I can't believe they're that horrible. Completely losing it because of insomnia. Turning into nothing but skin and bones. He did the Russian sleep experiment! Oh no! Bodies rotting away due to partial mana shock. The Abbey was filled with victims of Hive's operations. Sounds like Hives was really trying to make an SCP Foundation out there.
Yep.
I was doing some fucking trepang too shit. Some patients even had to be carried off to a church in the neighboring town. Gotta pray the demons out of.
Oh no.
And Sid, we have another problem. I brought Elaine, the Medica's chief, over to the Frayers to propose that we to propose the construction of a general hospital under Zevitz, but...
They gave you the stink eye?
Yes. Or rather, we were assailed with some rather unbecoming speech. It was because of people like us that the gods of man was angered, causing these victims in the first place. This was divine retribution for being blinded by our greed and desire for convenience.
Damn.
I can't exactly tell whether or not the priest was right. But this isn't time for that. I believe we need to pursue the medical project even more now. Why doesn't the government just outlaw the human testing of Process 1? That would solve the problem altogether. I'm sure that if the Board of Science would just do something, then the government would...
I doubt that.
Why? People are already dying here.
The technology to create Process 1 from mana was developed in the Outer Pole. Only those who have trained can make it, and of course, you need to use machinery that's only available in the Outer Pole. So, here's my take on the whole situation. The government, Board of Science, and Hives are all in cahoots, secretly exporting Process 1.
What? Why would they do that?
First possible use for it that comes to mind is the same thing that Hives does for their workers. Drugs to dope up crafters. Performance enhancement for armies, or maybe they found ways to weaponize the stuff. Well, it's a pretty new substance. Depending on where the research goes, they could find all sorts of uses for it.
No.
Well, not that I have any proof of anything, it's all just a guess.
So the worse your predictions get, the more likely they are to be true.
Anyway, putting that aside, let's get back on track. Like Albus said, I don't plan to give up on getting that hospital set up.
But Sid, the vast majority of these patients would rather seek salvation from the church than medical attention from a hospital. I'm sure they try to get into an overcrowded abbey than a newly built. I'm sure they try to get into an overcrowded abbey than a newly built hospital. And if that isn't possible, they'll just resign themselves to death.
Do people hate us that much? That can't be. We didn't do anything for people to hate us that much, right?
I suppose the average layman there isn't much of a difference between Hives and us. In any case, I don't see any real point in constructing a hospital with the way things are going now.
Damn. What do we do then?
Well, Sid, I have a plan.
Hmm?
What you said about the government and Hives earlier got me thinking. Why don't we just make the church's allies with Zevitz?
Huh?
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 Financial backing is a given. We renovate their facilities, get them new equipment, and maybe even build a new abbey altogether. Then we name the hospital after the church, put it under their management. In exchange, the actual hospital's operations will remain under Zevitz Medica. What about that? Or, as they say, Rex Regent et non... I haven't... Good...
Rex Regnat e non gubernat.
Fucking the linguistics master out here. They will reign, but not govern.
Wait just a minute. This entire thing's gotten so huge, I don't even know where to begin. Besides, they clearly hate us. What makes you think they'd even want to work with us?
I have a good idea.
An idea?
I heard that quite a number of sisters passed away the other day to a contagious form of mana shock. There are some who put their lives on the line, trying to subdue the patients who had grown violent and unstable. They tried to quell some men who were many times stronger than they were, also swollen from doping effects. with love as their only weapon. Anyway, they did absolutely everything in their power to provide the utmost care for the patients. Oh. Said we should dedicate our next project on absolute obedience automata to the sisters. And rather than models specifically made for the mana minds, we should focus on creating humanoid models to help support the sisters. That way, they can protect the sisters from any contagious forms of mana shock, or any patients who get too violent.
Eileen.
That's quite an ambitious plan. It might actually work out. I'll pass the proposal to our mechanical engineering partners about this.
There's a sort of poetic justice to all this. For people like us who make a living from science, probably the least theistic thing there is to be saved by religion.
Looks like we have to pay attention to little details like that. We have to focus on caring for the patients and minimizing the victims. 2 days later, we headed to the church. I was not expecting Sid to both be best boy and also appear this fucking much. Father, we are indebted for being allowed an audience today. I'm voicing 2 people in here already. You gotta get in there for religion. You gotta love some Jesus Day.
But of course, anything for the famous president of Jevit's Enterprise, whom the church so despises. Now what is it? Master Sid Jevitz, what is it that you and your organization need of us? My wife told me about your circumstances here the other day. I've heard that many of the sisters have become victims of the subjects they were trying to say. This is an unfortunate truth. This state of affairs was brought about by the competition between you and Hives. By playing with mana, you treat the blessings of God like mere toys. Do you understand that that is blasphemy? Do you have anything to say as a fool who chose to ignore their faith and blindly pursue science until its bitter end? I have no words to offer in my defense. But we of Jevitz have no intention of just giving up. Even if Jevit's Enterprise were to abandon this mana race and let Hives win, that wouldn't put a stop to the victims. I can confidently say we are on the side of good here. We conduct our business with the highest moral and ethical standards. To me, the nature of your business and Hives is one and the same. I'm well aware of that. However, I want you to understand that we will not back down against Hives. We have our own beliefs to adhere to. Why do you continue to rebel against God like this? It is God's will that we must simply accept, so we can carry out his divine plan. Is it that difficult to simply accept what he has given you? And live a life within your means? Science is nothing but the height of folly. It is proof that you are ungrateful of the blessings and the life that you have received. Sure, that might be the case for you, but let me tell you this, Father. As long as we humans have this thing called curiosity, the march of science will never stop. You just had to find out about the hidden possibilities of mana. No, it's not just about mana. You tell a human being to live this world without trying to satisfy their curiosity, that's just plain impossible. And curiosity is another one of those gifts your God gave to us humans, isn't it? Blasphemy. Did you want to meet with me face to face, simply to lecture me on God and human nature? No. We came here because we'd like to pitch something. Pitch? What could this be now? We're currently developing machines to assist with work in the mines. They'll be powered by mana, be able to understand what we have to do, and can carry out those commands. What in the... However, we've decided to stop work on that. Instead, we've decided to devote our time to create machines to provide support for the sisters of the church. And why exactly would you do that? Father, do you want to work with us at Jevitz? I beg your pardon? Right now, even if we built a general hospital in town, there would be far more people who would seek help from the church. But Father, that just isn't going to work out. Sorry to say, but what you're doing isn't going to save a single life. The only way to save people who are dying from mana is with mana itself. We have completely different values, but I'm sure we have the same fundamental desire to save as many people as we possibly can. Please, let us work with you. I'm sure patients wouldn't have any problems if you have them go to a hospital that has your blessing. I see. And there, we're going to have our machines take the place of the sisters instead. We've already partnered with an engineering company that will make sure that they look perfectly human. They'll have just as much humanity as we do. If you let the machines deal with any dangerous patients, I'm sure you can prevent any sisters from losing their lives. This Sisters Project is our way of showing our sincerity in this proposition. Please, won't you consider? I see how it is. Truly a suggestion that could have been put forth by someone so entrapped in worldly desires such as yourself. A suggestion that completely and utterly ignores the demands of the Church. Well, no, that's enough. This is no longer something we can discuss. However, you wish to save as many as you can, correct? Your sentiment reeks of arrogance and a lack of concern for the souls of the deceased. But, very well. I can understand your reasoning. We're very grateful for. However, we cannot accept those machines. Why not? Don't you want to prevent any more of the Abbey's sisters from becoming victims? Of course I want to put a stop to the victims, and I wish to save as many people as we can. However, these patients have all come here seeking salvation from God, although I suppose you atheist heathens won't understand.
Heretic!
No matter how well they can mimic human behavior, like how a hymn sung within a heart won't heal. Prayer from something without a soul will not save anyone.
Was Sid just silenced by a member of the clergy?
Still, for such non-believer to save lives in the name of the Church, your convictions have come through. I will need some time.
Huh? Oh, my. The mind sync was cut.
The connection just...
Oh no.
Sorry, I'll get it patched up now.
Lady. More importantly, how is your condition?
Well...
Well? I mean, how do you feel?
Yeah...
No, what I mean is,
Yeah! This is just such a pain. This is the first time I've had so much difficulty connecting a dive right.
Is this case much different than usual? There has to be just the right amount of pressure from external mana so that the internal mana can stabilize. Being able to refine mana constantly is quite a difficult feat. Even though we look to be the same people, it's amazing how differently our bodies can function. It's like we're completely different species.
I beg to disagree.
Hmm?
It all boils down to the presence or absence of mana. If we were to stay here too long, then our mana systems would end up deteriorating. And we would end up with the same physicality as you. You and we are all just the same human beings.
I see.
If I may, about that memory just now. You referred to a church. Does that mean there are also mana-related religions in the Outer Pole?
There certainly are. In fact, that is why a company like ours was able to grow so much, despite being anything but religious. It's all thanks to Elaine's idea that we partner with the church. Even in the Outer Pole, there are plenty of people who seek help from the god of mana. I never knew. The owner of the pawn shop said that the god of mana had forsaken this land, and has led to the development of science. That's pretty accurate. Even though our principles and religions contradict each other, we can still coexist with each other. When it all boils down to it, us humans need something to believe in. Even if it is a god who has abandoned us. I thought this was a land with nothing but self-serving individuals, but that wasn't the case.
Sid and Elaine have such a strong sense of duty and concern. Those two are truly amazing. There's so much I could learn from such wonderful people.
Agreed. I was fixated on working on simply conducting research, but those two were always wholeheartedly directing their efforts into making the North Pole a better place. I was also reminded of the difference in our personalities when they were still around. What do you mean? I'd heard that Sid had already moved on to the next world, but has his wife, Elaine, also passed on as well? Yes. Several weeks after Rune died, she had also passed away. See, Elaine was killed by Rune. Damn! From beyond the grave! She laced... Oh, wait, no, that was the process one. Well, I thought she survived that. Wait a minute. She laced the tea Elaine had always drank with process 1 before it was refined into a drug. Gasp. She was killed by her own flesh and blood daughter.
I can't believe it.
Rune, who often frequented Zavit's labs, had actually snuck in and stolen process 1 that was kept for research purposes. She had taken enough to kill 10 adults. Director and executives of companies from other Outer Pole religions were also supposed to merge with Zavit's were later found dead. Poisoned. Rune then committed suicide after. Thanks to that one incident, our dream, Sid's, Elaine's, and mine, our dream to expand Zavit's throughout the Outer Pole was completely scrapped. I was at a sincere loss for words. Just what could possibly have driven Rune to do all that? At just 10 years of age, we had heard that she was a problem child of sorts. Now this was far beyond that.
The Devil's Spawn.
Huh? She certainly does live up to that nickname. Fuck that 10-year-old. We hate 10-year-olds. What was her motive? Oops, hold on. Hold on. Oh, Discord's fucking up a second. There we go. There must have been something that pushed her to do that, right? We couldn't find anything like that. Rune had an abnormality in the brain, you see. A portion of her brain wasn't working. Even if she was able to understand emotions like happiness, sadness, and anger, she couldn't feel them herself. She didn't feel fear or guilt. Didn't feel pity or remorse. She absolutely will not stop. Mm-hmm. Nor was she able to develop a sense of compassion. But Could someone have developed such destructive tendencies simply because of a lack of emotion? I don't know. Maybe everyone was special, but at this point there's no way for us to find out.
Sorry to interrupt, but I finished the connection.
Are you alright, Cellophane? You're looking a little pale there.
Yes.
Do we continue from earlier?
Yes.
Alright. Here on it'll be about the Zevitz siblings. I have to warn you, it's going to be rather disturbing.
Oh, here we go.
That's great. So, are you sure you want to keep going? It's okay, funny enough, this game has been reminding me of another game. Another visual novel of ours that we've also wanted to do on stream. It kind of gives us the same atmospheric vibe of this game's going for. I like it. So that one you actually have to make choices.
We are.
There's actually I think 8 different endings in that game. A few years had passed since Sid spoke with the priest. The number of Haynes victims continued to multiply drastically. Then one day, someone from the church came across evidence exposing the collusion between the government, Haynes, and the Board of Science. Haynes and the that was the clincher, a fusion formed in the long-standing relationship of the church and the government, leading to an agreement between Zevitz and the church. The energy industry versus the government versus the church. A level of discord among the three parties was truly unprecedented. In the midst of all that, Rudo was immersed in his studies daily, both in the academy and at home. Preparations for becoming Zevitz Enterprises' next president. Just like his father, he also had a strong interest in mana. Didn't have any difficulty studying. Rudo simply loved to learn. I remember often telling Aline that he was bored by the lessons at the academy. However, Rudo, intelligent as he was, had one big concern. His little sister, Rune. At that time, Rune had behavioral issues.
Putting it mildly.
I don't know, that Hertzman would have no, not Hertzman, fucking Grackles, that one Marcus. He'd tell you there's a few behavioral issues. She'd always frown on her face, and the only time she ever smiled was when people got hurt. I think she did have some trace of malintent to it. Whatever her problems were, they were always to cause people problems. One day, we finally did something that put the final nail on the coffin. Reno stabbed the Grocal's family son's eye with a stick, causing him to lose it. The whole incident with the Grocals, that was I will say a different way each time.
No kidding.
I wonder, what caused Rune to do that? Was she not satisfied with something?
I don't know. Eileen, she's just heartbroken. On the outside, she puts a smile on and says she's fine, but she's starving herself, and her body's just...
It's terrible. And I feel sorry for Rudo as well. Hope he isn't getting shamed or mistreated at school.
This might be a good opportunity for him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's about time. Age-wise, too. Sounds about right.
He's lost his own thoughts, huh? After the Grocal's incident, Rudio had stopped attending school. The reason was never said out loud, but it was obvious. Rudio was just around 10 olds when he began to work as a trainee in Zevitz. He studied daily in Lab 9, said to be the best in the industry for producing top researchers, started becoming more and more introverted. Now that I think about it, it must have been tough for him. As a child, Rudo was somewhat lacking in imagination. To be blunt, he wasn't fit to be a researcher, but Both I and the other members of the lab thought so too. Rudo truly had a talent for learning. However, he had difficulties coming up with anything new that was outside of what was taught to him. They were expecting to have an eccentric imagination just as Sid did when he was young, but unfortunately it was all for naught. On the other hand, he was very careful not to offend people with his words or actions, and was very considerate of others. As time passed, everyone around him slowly came to see him as someone who couldn't succeed Sid. A few years after Rudo began working in Lab 9, Rune's house arrest, the consequence of the Rakals incident, was lifted. Rune was often brought by her home tutor to visit the lab. As time passed, it became clear that Rudo was said to be a prodigy in his aptitude for learning. Rune greatly exceeded his capabilities. Just a few months after Rune started to take trips into Lab 9, she was able to answer the unsolved battery problems that had been plaguing the sisters' machines for years. Everyone was speechless. It was then I saw a glimpse of Sid's inventiveness and creativity. No, she truly solved a problem that Sid himself couldn't. Probably everyone in the lab thought she would surpass Sid as a researcher someday. Rudo began to slowly lose confidence in himself. Even after things calmed down from the Coles incident, he began to get along with Rune. Rudo was lost and didn't know what to do. It was written all over his face. Eventually, Rudo only did administrative work in the lab. It seemed to have dawned on him that he couldn't compete with Rune. Even then, Rune joined in the administrative work just as an assistant and took his job away from him. Damn! And it looked as if Rune was deliberately driving Rudo up the wall psychologically. What a dick! There's a slight air of hostility to it. No, hostility wasn't the right word. There didn't seem to be any motive to it. From an outside perspective, she had a little sister helping out her older brother. Nothing more. Whether it was intentional or not, a normal person wouldn't have noticed. One day, Sid and Elaine came to me for advice.
Look, I'm not against sending her off to school, but I just don't see the point.
I heard you already, Sid. I want to hear what Albus has to say on the matter. Hey, Albus, what do you think? Could I have your honest opinion? Should Rune go to school, or... I don't see any problem with that. 6 whole years have passed since the incident with the Cowles boy.
That's not the point. She's been studying at Lab 9 all this time. Why do you expect her to pick up at school? I think it's a waste of time.
I'm not referencing her studies, but we need to reintroduce her into society. She doesn't even have anyone her age that she can call a friend. We need to at least try to let her live a normal life.
And just who exactly determines what's normal, and what isn't?
I agree with Albus. Rather than hauling her up in that dimly lit laboratory, I'd rather she live and behave more like the young lady that she is. Pretty surprising to hear that from you, Elaine, considering how insistent you were about her education. Of course, she still has to maintain her studies. However, I think we're pushing Rune too hard in that direction. She may look perfectly comfortable with how she is now, but I think she still needs time to interact with other children her age as well. You don't really share that opinion, Sid?
If you're asking me my personal opinion, I don't think people's skills are all they're cracked up to be. If she keeps up her work, then she's going to end up picking them up, whether she likes it or not.
I swear, why is this man just so... You should really think about your abilities a little more. Your standards are well and far removed from what is considered as normal.
Well, all that aside, my final decision is to let Rune choose what she wants to do. I don't plan to rob her the ability to choose. She's got the right to.
I knew it. Do you agree with him then, Albus? I do. Considering Rune's age, it really should be the both of you making the final decision. But I certainly agree with respecting her opinion as well. Well, I have to go. I'll go have Rune undergo a physical examination. I'll let the hospitals know, too. Thank you, Albus. Really. I hope Rune appreciates the sentiment. It was weeks after that. Just before Rune was to be enrolled in an academy, she had a physical exam done in the lab. Using the MRI device that Sid had developed, I examined Rune's brain. What? Is the machine malfunctioning? Who the fuck is this fine gentleman?
Nah, that's impossible. It's just one of the other lab workers, Bothell. We just conducted maintenance on it yesterday. It's calibrated just right too. There can't be a problem with the machine. Albus, these rune scans, right? Is this even possible? This means she can't feel any emotion. That's absurd. A human like this couldn't exist.
Don't tell anyone about this, Nidzik. Vothel. Elaine's in an especially sensitive time right now. When the timing is right, I'll make sure to tell Sid. The portion of Rune's brains which controlled human emotions was non-functional. What exactly this meant, none of the members of the lab, nor I, knew at the time. You couldn't feel emotions. Well, yeah, but in this world, Tress, that we just got tech to find this stuff out. This is the first one. Patient 0. While concealing Rune's name, we asked all our staff in the Medica, but not a single person even knew of the condition. Hold on there, Discord. Oh no, you've done something. Oh, okay, there we go. Medica, not a single news. But it was obvious that something was wrong. That boy just ain't right. MRI itself was still a new, young technology. Come on, Discord. I believe. God. I'm trying to use that like little spinny cog thing at the bottom to see when the Discord stream. There we go. However, the very first person to respond to this was Rudo. Rudo clearly knew something that we didn't. It was a few months after Rune was admitted into the academy when he revealed it to us. What's this book? Lie spotting. It's a book about the psychological nature of lies and how to detect them.
Oh, Albus.
Good evening, Rudo.
I have to talk with you.
Oh, what's the matter? Rudo's story came out of nowhere. Rune is killing small animals at a park nearby. Honestly, it sounded so absurd that I couldn't believe what he had told us. Ever since the Gracoles incident, Rune had grown up to be a good girl. Deep in my heart, I harbored a small doubt. What if Rudo was using the brain scans as a pretense so he could get revenge on Rune? He had more than enough reason and motive to do so. Against the gentle Rune, Rudo must have felt desperate given their positions.
I don't expect you to believe it, though.
How do I even react? Have you told Sid and Elaine?
No, well, not directly. I kind of played it off, saying that Rune might just be up to something bad again. If I didn't, I'm sure Mum would get hurt again.
I see.
Yes. The only other person I could talk to about this was you, Albus.
Sorry, Rudo, but I think the only thing you can do for now is keep an eye on the situation. If I can do anything to help, I'd be more than happy to. Right now, everything you've told me is true. Still not enough justification to take action right now. I brought this topic up saying that I heard everything from you. If they decide to ignore it, then that'll be the end of it.
You're right.
By the way, what is this book for? Is this for taking measures against Rune?
Yes.
Rudo, do you think Rune is a chronic liar?
I'm not sure. But Rune displays far too many tendencies that are described in that book.
Such as?
For example, people who lie habitually are very capricious by nature. They hate staying in a single place. Once they get bored with things, they head elsewhere.
Did you mention? She did say that she wanted to see the outside world.
It's not just that. They're always smiling, but it's only out of their mouth that's in their smile, while their eyes remain expressionless. Whenever you talk with them, they end up looking straight at you in the eye too much. There are a lot of people in and around town who haven't accepted Rune. When I asked them this exactly why, they told me they couldn't on a biological level. I think it's instinctive repulsion to their behavior. It doesn't matter whether the person in question is an adult or a child. When they have something that feels foreign to us, they become the target of fear and alienation. I think Rune already knows that she's causing people to feel disgusted at her, and is intentionally behaving that way. More than that...
Rudo?
I'm sure Rune is planning something. She's building up her knowledge so she can trick us. There's got to be something she has planned. Something much worse than the Growlies incident.
Wait just a minute there, Rudo. Aren't you jumping to conclusions here? She's been such a good girl this whole time. I'm not going to completely ignore what you're saying. But as an adult, I have an obligation to look at everything fairly and impartially.
I'm sorry. I may have said too much.
I wasn't exaggerating. Even now, I still remember that conversation clear as day. I paid no attention to Rudo's warning. That was the greatest mistake I have ever made in my entire life. A few weeks after that, Elaine collapsed. And several days after that, 12...
7 up?
Yeah. No, it was taking a second to load the next line. Several days after that, 12 of the top brass from Zephyt's business partners all died from Process 1 poisoning. Rune disappears from the mansion. Another few days after that, a transport ship arrives at the outer pole. Rune's body is found on board. A few weeks later, Elaine breathes her last while in Zephyt's Medica. Those events constantly played themselves back in my mind over and over and over. From this point forward, Zephyt's began to collapse in on itself. Sid, having faced no greater calamity than this, was broken. Even though he endured all the trials and difficulties in his past, Sid just completely broke down. He wouldn't even listen to me or Rudo. His work at the company went practically untouched. Instead, he holed himself up inside Lav 9 and barred anyone else entry. It was on one of those days. It was just as the Sisters project was approaching completion. In the end, the church refused to make use of the Sisters, but the frames were repurposed to work in the monomines instead. During a meeting to discuss where the Sisters would be deployed, Sid suddenly showed up. What? You want to pay the Sisters for their work?
That's right. I want their service compensated.
Brother in Christ, you want to...
brought this on? Why? Why? We're just barely scraping by as it is. Why should we pay machines of all things? Huh? Because that's an order. Anyone who objects is fired. End of story. Sir Sid?
Are you serious, sir?
Are you serious, sir? Well, you guys deal with that then.
Wait a minute, Sid. This is an abuse of power. Just tell us why. We'll listen to you.
Why the hell do I have to explain every little damned thing I have to say? Even if I took time to explain it, you're all just bashing idiots who wouldn't understand, so I don't even bother. All you need to do is just follow what I say, like the servants you are.
What is the matter with you, Sid? If these people weren't here with you, Zevitz might as well have never existed.
Who's the one who holds the power? Me. I don't need to take any smack from people without any vision. What the hell? You just abandoned your job like that. Do you have any idea how deep in danger the company is right now? What do you say, boy? Open your damned eyes, you senile old man. Your job as the CEO of this company is to reassure everyone working here. Did you forget that? What the hell happened to your sense of right and wrong? Your morals? Were you this weak that you can't even stick to them now that your wife's gone? You sure spat some pretty big words for someone who isn't even half a man, eh, Rudo? Get a grip, Dad. With how things are right now, I don't need damn sympathy from the likes of you, frickin' kid. You can pretend to run the company for all I care. But this is my company. I built it from the ground up. And I can raise it to the damn ground if I want as I please. Now you'd better follow my orders. And anyone who gets in the way of my research... Sir?
He's vomiting blood.
Hey, Sid, are you alright? Don't touch me. Sid. Damn it.
That night I was called by Rudo. Rudo, my boy.
Just who exactly is Rudo Shevitz?
Come again?
This morning, while I looked in the mirror, I saw a man I didn't even know. That man didn't have a shred of sadness in him when his little sister passed away. In fact, I'm feeling nothing but relief.
Rudo.
My little sister should never have been born. She should have just hit her head against something and died when she was young. Now I'm finally free. Such were the man's sad, heartless thoughts. Now, Albus, is the Rudo Shevitz you know the kind of young man who would harbour those thoughts? Was he a person with such a warped heart that he would rejoice in his sister's death rather than mourn it? However, there's still something I owe my gratitude to that thing for. The devil in disguise taught me one thing, and one thing only. That people are always controlled by their emotions. In this era, what we need are logic and rationality. The only people who have the right to talk about emotions or sympathy are those who have thoroughly pursued logic and rationality. My father was unable to do that. He's a weak man who tried to devote himself to some sorry excuse for philanthropy and couldn't even follow through all the way.
Rudo.
There are far too many barriers in this world. Sid Shevitz has been taken over by madness. His time is over. From now on, I shall lead Shevitz. I have the power to.
That day, the dam that had been holding Rudo back finally broke. His growth since then was incredible. That kind, warm Rudo was nowhere to be found. He had truly changed as a person. Although he was just mediocre in terms of research, his track record in management easily dwarfed Sid's. Rudo put forward an avant-garde plan to save Zevitz. In order to deal with the mass murder that Rune committed, he established the corporate system. By taking outside investors as members of the company's board of directors, he succeeded in changing the company's image as a family business to a corporation. Not after capitalism.
Ruder, why wasn't I prepared to seat here? Well now, your seat is certainly prepared, Mr. Growleys. Because I demanded for one, that's why. You don't tell me that you've forgotten what your sister has done. Thanks to that girl, I lost my family, and my life has been ruined. Your father seems to have understood the circumstances. What about you? Don't tell me that just because you've taken his place, you consider the past all water under the bridge. For the love of... The father has gone completely insane, the son freely abuses his position, and the daughter is a damned murderer. Just what is wrong with your family, huh? I've been working in this company for 10 years, and if you don't treat me accordingly, you'd better watch out, you little punk.
Okay. Growleys, did you just...
I see. If I don't treat you accordingly, I'd better watch out, is it? My, you sure have had quite a head on your shoulders. What did you say, you little kid? Just try saying that again. Mr. Growleys, do you understand the situation you're in? Right now, you are dancing on the stage, front and center. Listen, to this company, you are nothing but a persistent little stain on a glass window. Leaving you on or wiping you off, there is no real difference. However, the more it stands out, the more of an eyesore it becomes. Don't worry, Mr. Growley, there's no need to flounder about like that. Having gotten remunerations for both your one-eyed son and your wife, you can truly consider yourself a success in life. You can relax and let that fat belly of yours hang out as you enjoy your life to the fullest. Why, you son of a... If some talentless burden like you even thinks of trying something, I'll have you swept out like the garbage you are. Why, you? Who do you think you are, you son of a bitch? I'd have to take abuse from a little shit like you, son of a bitch. Don't think I'm going to take this lying down. I'm going to whittle you down like your goddamn bones. Mark my words.
This man's throwing every cliche out there in the book. Rudo, I can see what you're getting at, but don't you think you went a little too far back there?
Too far? What do you mean?
About Growleys.
He's nothing to concern yourself over, Albus. More importantly, now that we've become a publicly traded company, there are far bigger things to worry about, beyond Growleys. Their problems are only about to start.
Just Rudo said, we lost a great number of excellent employees. However, we also gained many talented young employees. With the passing of each year, Rudo continued to rescue Zevitz from the brink of closure. The company full of warmth that Sid and Elaine had once protected now changed into an efficient system. Zevitz grew too many times its size since Sid had first established it. It had been recovered to the point where it could trade blows with hives. Rudo's system of corporations and stocks planted the idea of investing even more among the common layman, creating an interest in business as a whole. Thanks to that, Hives found it difficult to get by just on marketing alone. Since then, Hives and Zevitz have been competing primarily on the technological front. Sisters, subjects, medica, energy, pharmaceuticals, information technology. An era of mana drawn on the outer pole. the people of the Interpol could no longer look down upon us. I believe we were able to build up an equally respectable level of technology. It was then. An appointment.
He's back.
Yeah, it's him. I love him. Oh, hey, I can ban people on Twitch again without having to go to OBS. Fucking balling. What do you mean I need an appointment?
Well, it's company policy.
Oh, come on, miss. Don't be such a hard ass. I just need to talk with him for a couple minutes.
Well, I am,
Hurts. Yo, Albus. Perfect time. Meryl, you can forget about him. I'll deal with this.
Yes, sir.
Jeez, what the heck happened? Everything's gotten all by the book here now. The direction of the company's changed and all. Time's changing. Change, huh? I hate it. Hate it, I tell you. Everyone's trying to be a goody two-shoes now. What's the point of following the times over and over like that? You never do change, do you? But really, why didn't you just tell her your name? If you just said the name Growly, she would have easily patched you throughout to your, Stop it, man. Just thinking about how me and that guy are actually related is depressing. Duly noted. Is your dad still not reconciled with, you mean with me or my uncle? Your uncle. Can't say. I suppose when one of them kicks the bucket, the other will probably show up to the funeral. My dad, he took Marcus in, cared for him like he was his own son. What happened in their place is none of my business, but my uncle's let the money get to his head a little too much. He got filthy rich, but he didn't give a cent to help raise the kid. That's all in the past now. As long as he doesn't show his mug around me, then I ain't gonna do anything. It really has been a while. Just hearing that laugh of yours puts me at ease. That's because for someone like me, my laugh's the only selling point. And how are you lately, Albus? Looking more and more like an old fogey, I see. An old fogey. You would too if you had to deal with this much work. You should just stop playing businessman and drop by the tavern once in a while. I'm sure Sid and Rudio's got a lot on their plates, but you need a breather once in a while too. That is true. By the way, what brings you here today? Oh, yeah, that's right. See, Sid stopped putting in orders for clothes all of a sudden. He always had to work on something at least once every half a year, but we haven't met for a whole year now. So I decided to drop by and pay a visit. What was with that look of yours? Something happening? Sid's not doing very well right now. He's been like that ever since Elaine and Rune passed away. He's holed up in the lab, working on who knows what, like a man possessed. Who knows what, so it's not work. He isn't even the right condition to do any work right now. Sid just refuses to listen to anyone, and when he talks, he either gives out strange nonsense orders or says something outrageous. Rudio's taking the reins and is leading Zevit's. Rio is? It's amazing. That shy little kid's taking over. You might not even recognize who he is if you met him, Hurts. Rio's completely changed. Actually, ever since that incident with Rune, everything's changed. Is that so? Hey, let me meet with Sid. Eh? just leave him alone for now. Oh, come on, that's fine. If he was busy with work, then I'd think twice, but if he's just twiddling his thumbs, then that's a different story. It's a lot more serious than that. Serious? Why, that's just what you think. Dying isn't real. That's just what you think, but you haven't seen what it's like now. What do you think I'm gonna see if you won't let me? How do you think I'm gonna see it if you won't let me? It's... Look here, Albus. In my whole life, Sid's the toughest son of a bitch I ever met. He's always stuck to his guns, no matter what life's thrown at him. And you're telling me he's broken down? That just means he needs a little tune-up is all. I'll slap some sense into him. Alright. But you better not regret this.
Is that you, Albus? The only people who have mana signatures to open that door are you and Aline. I told you not to come here, didn't I? Hey, Albus. Answer me.
Hey, good old Hertzman's here too. Or Hertzman. Sorry, Sid. I just had to talk Albus into letting me drop by.
That's one. What do you want?
What do I want? What don't I want, Sid? You've been my regular for over 15 years now. If you suddenly stop showing up, then of course I'm gonna worry. Which is why I'm here paying you a visit.
That's so. Albus? First one?
Anything.
Get out. I'm busy.
Hey now, what's with the greeting?
I'm telling you to get the hell out of here. I don't got time to waste on either of you.
Sid. Don't touch him, Albus. What? We need to get him to a doctor. Sid, just how long have you been hacking your lungs up?
That ain't none of your damn business.
I'm getting a doctor now.
Don't you even...
Lackey, don't you even dare call Dr. Albus. What? Why? He's bleeding profusely here. If we just leave him like that, then... Don't make me repeat myself. You call a doctor, I'm gonna beat the hell out of you. Why? Speak up, Sid. When do these symptoms start showing up? Damn it, answer me. I can't even watch this. I see. You can't even speak straight. Look me straight in the eyes. Look me straight in the eye and nod or shake your head. You damn sure you don't need a doctor?
No. No. Piss off.
Alright. That's how you want it, Sid. Albus, we're taking off. But... Just shut up and get over here. Come on. We're leaving. Not my boy. Why didn't you call a doctor, Hertz? How could you stay calm after seeing Sid like that? Well, calm down for... How could I possibly calm down? He looked like he was on the verge of dying. If we leave him be, then... You don't get it, do you, Albus? Get... What is there to get? You've been with him for too long. You can't see the big picture anymore. Relax. Once you've calmed down, you'll figure it out. What are you talking about? At this rate, he'll... Look, if you really care about Sid, then you just need to leave him be. Let him do what he wants. Hey. Albus, I'm only gonna say this once, so listen up. The best thing you can do for Sid right now is let the man die doing what his heart desires. Well, I've said my piece. Whether you decide to listen or not is all on you. That stubborn son of a bitch. But I can rest easy now. See you around, Sid.
Entry number 9. Just a little longer. I'm almost.
It was a week later. I could simply not let Sid be and decided to head back to Lab 9. It was then.
Albus. Sir Albus, we have an emergency.
Vothel? Nedzik, what's wrong? You look gassed.
Sid activated Lab 9's emergency protocol.
He what?
All the backup mana lines have been cut.
That's absurd. The emergency protocols fills the entire lab with colored mana. If a living human being was in there, he...
Do you think Sid's trying to commit suicide?
Vothel, get Rudio here now. Kirky, come with me. We need to find a way to stop the protocol.
Yes, sir. Of all interruptions. So, how much time has passed since activation?
Rudo.
I hear the backup mana lines have all been severed. Is there any valuable equipment inside?
Who cares? Sid is still in there.
He is? So he is. Oh, well. Let's get a doctor on standby, just in case. I swear I'm already pressed for time as it is, but I don't have time to deal with funeral arrangements.
Damn. How dare you?
Why do you look so exasperated, Albus? Sid Shevitz died a long, long time ago. All that's left in there is the deranged, hollow shell that's remained of him.
Enough, Rudo.
If he died doing whatever it is he wanted doing, and good for him.
Enough. How dare you speak about that? Speak like that about your own father? Is that how you address the people who gave you life?
So, Ruda, it's Albus. The door's opening. It seems the cleansing's finished.
I found Sid's body inside the lab. He died from acute mana shock due to the sudden influx of colored mana, just as Rune had. Sid, what were you trying to accomplish here? In the entire company, Lab 9 was packed with the most expensive equipment. Among the equipment here were sensitive instruments that constantly had to have mana flowing through them, otherwise they would break down.
Kirky, lend me a hand. We need to restore the lines. We can't see a thing in this darkness. Understood.
It was then Kirky and Vothel reconstructed the backup mana lines which Sid had disconnected. That we discovered.
What?
Time froze. What lay beside Sid's corpse was... Oh! I don't believe it.
What is this? Is that a new sister prototype? No, that's impossible. She's got to be human, right? Clearly. No, there's no mistaking it. There doesn't seem to be a pulse, and I can see the irises in the cameras. Irises in the cameras in its eyes. It moved.
Alright, who activated it?
We didn't even touch it. It just started moving on its own. Can you talk? Do you have a voice feature?
Hello, world. You know, I did think it was weird the whole time we've been playing this last session. I was like, man, it's kind of weird that her eyes look like little power buttons.
It seems to be the type that can speak. Do you have a name?
Name? What is a name? Looks like there wasn't any basic information loaded in.
A name is a term that serves as an identifier for oneself. My name is Volfel. This guy is Kirky. He's Albus, and that man over there is Rudo.
Rudo?
Oh, it seems to recognize Rudo's face.
Rudo. Brother?
It must be some kind of mistake. You don't have any name, right?
Name. Something that serves as my identifier? I cannot remember. But I remember being called by something a long time ago.
And from now on, you're Sarah. Remember that.
The project files title? How arbitrary. Sarah?
Indeed. If you're asked by anyone, then you are to introduce yourself as Sarah. That's an order.
Understood.
Is this going to be deployed at the church? The church? Ah, it's something that happened before you joined the company. When both Sid and his wife were still alive, there was an agreement with the Abbey. We would create sisters who looked just like humans for the Abbey, and they would take care of all the victims of Hive's operations. But ultimately, we weren't able to create any sisters to the standards of quality that they demanded. They said that even though they looked human externally, they were lacking on the inside. Ah, damn it, Dad. What were you thinking?
It was later discovered that Sid had falsified financial records without the accountants knowing. He laundered vast sums of money to develop a new prototype sister. Did Sid not leave a single memo on this?
All of the documents on manoware and software in the terminals and equipment, they've all been purged because of the emergency protocol.
And his planner? Sid always carried a planner around with him, making sure to take notes on everything.
About that, it's been burnt to a crisp.
Burned?
That's not all. Every single document Sid's kept here for the last 2-3 years were all burned. Seeing as how all of his notes and documents have been destroyed so exactingly, he must have intentionally got rid of it all. But then why would Sir Sid have kept working to create the sister prototype up until his death?
I've already told you about this. He was frustrated with the greatest failure in Seved's enterprise history. When we parted with the church, he promised the abbot we would make a sister that would be no different from a human being. But ultimately, we just couldn't deliver on that. I'm sure he wanted to put the final nail on that coffin that before he died. Sid must have wanted to finish his greatest failure in life, the sister's project.
No, that couldn't be it.
What makes you say that?
If he wanted to create sisters for the church's use, then why wouldn't he truly have met his goal if they could be produced en masse? But he intentionally burned all of his notes and documentation to prevent that.
I told you, he wasn't thinking about mass production or the company itself. He must have wanted to settle his personal conflict with himself. Otherwise, why would he have felt the need to steal funding from his own company?
But still, what's the meaning in destroying all of his documents? There must have been some other driving force behind it.
Gentlemen, you are sorely mistaken about the problem at hand. Whatever my father was thinking, there's no way for us to ever understand it. To question the motives of a madman, the mere act is an utter waste of time. Albus, we don't have the time to waste on foolish things like this. The amount of money that Sid has illegally channeled into this project of his is enormous. I'm sure there will be a meeting with the board of directors about whether or not this new sister prototype will be justified as cost. I must go to make preparations for that. Please return to your respective workstations, everyone. Yes, you're right. It's rather hard to swallow all this right now, but I understand.
I need to recompose my thoughts. Once the date of the meeting is set, please let me know.
Riddler, we need to talk.
I hope this isn't more useless banter, Albus.
Enough, Riddler. The model sister. Doesn't anyone come to mind? Look. It's clearly Rune. Right there.
Right. And you thought I didn't notice it earlier?
Then why didn't you say anything about that?
Because it's a matter of trivial importance. So what if she looks like Rune? That minor detail has no bearing on our current situation. Well, there is something I'm now certain of.
Which is?
Sid Service was truly ill. While still bitter about the loss of his daughter, he was infatuated with pretending that he could bring her back to life. How disgraceful. Sid Service, the renowned scientist of the era, certainly has fallen far. Well, now, it goes without saying that the issue is at hand. The issue is at hand is the numbers, our finances. I believe it is best we may not discuss this with anyone else. I don't want to cause additional causes for concern with the board of directors.
On that, and only that point, I do agree with you.
I sincerely hope that this is enough value to warrant its construction. Albus, please start preparing for the meeting as well.
I'm against this. Look at it. Look at Sarah's mannerisms. Tell me, have you encountered a machine that could possibly respond this naturally, this humanly? Regardless of Sid's psychological instability, this sister is still the work of a genius. The work which he put his entire life into. Until we can understand the origins behind its construction, I believe that we need to continue observing it.
It's almost disgusting, the way it looks so realistic. As if it were really a human. And why? What's with that expression on your face? Is it some kind of malfunction? Some kind of function to upset people on purpose?
No, I apologize.
It's as if it has emotions as well. This has to have been a sister for the church's use. For it to have emotions recreated as well, It has the model of older sister. It has a model of sister created for its original purpose. No doubt about it. Ha! Impossible. We need to scrap this thing, or get rid of it as soon as possible. Despite that small frame, it possesses the strength of nearly 10 men. If it decides to rebel against us, then who knows what could happen. Refusing to listen to other people's opinions as always, I see. Always screaming, no, no, and you still call yourself an adult. I was asked for my opinion, I gave it. And I believe the same goes for you, regardless of how you choose to view it. To be honest, this scares me. I cannot in good faith agree with letting a machine whose thought processes we don't even understand loose anywhere near us.
I don't think those fears are really justified. Sarah can speak perfectly well and is able to understand what we are saying. You only have to approach it to understand that it's not something dangerous. Besides, Sid couldn't have built something intended to be harmful to others.
Considering Sid's mental state at the time, I find that assertion rather hard to believe. All this aside, everyone, please. Have you all forgotten about the money that was poured into making Sarah in the first place?
It's all about the money.
Was it just created to serve as some kind of trophy? To put into a goldfish bowl of some sort? If this was created as a mere pet project, then I refuse to stand for this. We need to do something right now to mitigate our losses.
But if we don't have any time to reserve her, then...
It looks like we'll need to take another vote on this matter.
But by a majority vote, it was decided to reserve Sarah. In a few weeks since then, Sarah's slowly formed memories, and her personality began to emerge. At first, she spoke very curtly, and did only what she was told. As time went on, she slowly became more and more human-like, to the point that other people wouldn't even notice that she was a machine. Although there were many skeptics on the board of directors, they all eventually accepted the fact that Sarah was something special. Soon after, she was placed in a field test to work in the mana mines temporarily, under my supervision. Ah, there's so many first-generation models of the sisters here, Albus. It never ends well when you call something the sister project. Never ends well. About 90% of those working in the mines are sisters that we built, in fact. What about the other 10%? Good morning, everyone. Pleased to make your acquaintance. All the sisters here don't speak. They're all-purpose built miners, so they don't have any excess functions. I see. It's going to be a little lonely. Do you really think that? Excuse me? Does that really make you feel lonely? Well, I wonder, why did I think it would be lonely? I'm not sure if feel is the right word either. But the first thing that came to mind was that it would be lonely. Sarah worked diligently at its job. However, when compared to the sisters designed specifically for work in the mines, its results were nothing spectacular. Ultimately, it was determined that Sarah was not designed for mining work. At the very least, we determined that Sarah had no particular abilities apart from bearing incredible likeness to humans. It seems that its memories are constantly growing day by day. I have absolutely no idea just how it's built.
Then shall we dismantle it and find out? If you wish to know what makes it tick, then that's the fastest way to do so.
I can't do that. If we dismantle it, we may be unable to reassemble it. That's the consensus of all the members of Lab 9's members. The board of directors wouldn't even let us dismantle it, given our current level of technology. Excuse me. What is it? I don't think my name is Sarah. What? I don't quite remember very well, but I think a long time ago. Rune used to be my name. Oh. Do you mean? And you're Rudo, my brother.
Sarah? Between your imperfect, faulty memory, or what we say, which do you think is more credible? Everything in those so-called memories of yours, it's all a veil, a lie, a sham. All of it was implanted by your creator, Sid Shevitz, some kind of sick joke. Don't ever, ever utter the name Rune again. That's an order.
Understood. Ever since Sarah's confession, Rudo's attitude towards her completely changed. Why does Sarah have Rune's memories inside of her? Did Sid actually intend to bring Rune back to life like this? Calling herself Rune. Behaving like Rune. Something as simple as that would have been child's play for Sid. But that isn't Rune. It would have been nothing but a fake, created copy of Rune. Just what was Sid thinking?
There is no merit to this. That's not true at all. Sid's original plan for the sisters was to introduce them to the church and let them take care of patients. As proof of that, I brought Sarah to the abbot the other day. Not once during the entire time we were there did he realize that Sarah was a machine. And despite all that, they still gave us the disapproval. Honestly, it's just disgusting. There isn't a man alive who'd ever feel comfortable around that bucket of bolts. I can't even tell when it's around or not because it doesn't even look alive and just has that look. And just look at that face. Who knows what's going on inside its head? I wholeheartedly agree with you. Even if, as the members of Lab 9 all passionately assert, that Sarah has the mana mechanisms to mimic emotion, what merit is there in actually being able to reproduce that function? I'd love to hear some concrete, useful applications of this. Well, the fact is that the Church has denied the proposal. This means that there will be another hurdle to jump when it comes to using it in the Shevitz Medica. If we were to continue to shove this new model of sister down their throats, then we would be sowing unnecessary discord between us and the people whom we've worked so hard to partner with. We will not use it in Medica, nor will we use it in the Church. In other words, there is no merit to mass-producing these. Ruda, why are you so stubborn about this? I wouldn't have expected that opinion from you. She may be the one and only automaton built in this entire world that's built and equipped with so-called emotional mechanism. If Sid was able to create something like that, then who knows what other mana-powered inventions lay ahead? Just what is this person? What is the conscious? What are the emotions? This may lead to huge discoveries about the very philosophies of humans themselves. Certainly, mass production may be out of the question, but does that mean we can just disregard her entirely? Two refuse to change my opinions on this. At the very least, I believe that it's far too early to scrap her. And here we are back to square one. Albus, what do you think of all this?
I think it is far too early to dismantle her as well. While the system running inside her certainly piqued my interest, I can't even begin to understand what Sid's intentions were. I'm slowly beginning to think that Sid wasn't entirely mad when he created Sarah.
Not quite the answer I was expecting, but that means you're opposed to dismantling her, yes? Very well. We shall continue to observe it. See you all tomorrow.
Excuse me, Albus. Sarah? What are you doing out at this hour? Have you completed your test for the day? Just a short while ago, actually. I see. Which means you're off the clock now. May I have a moment to speak with you? Why the formality all of a sudden? Well, just what am I? That's quite the frank question. Am I, on the inside, at least really? Don't worry, Ruda won't know a word of this. Speak your mind. Well, it was created just 2 years ago, right? You were? It's strange. Inside me are what seem to be childhood memories. They stretch back all the way to years and years ago, but I was just created only recently, so that can't be true. I was just... what am I? I'm fucking yoinking this song. Gonna find this OST and fucking yoink it. Am I a machine that...
Well, the OST is in the game.
Well, I don't have the game. Am I a machine that's just born to be a tool? It's gonna be a little hard for me to get. If that's the case, then why was I born with these memories? I have no idea. As far as for just what those memories are inside of you, the only person who can answer that question is no longer on this world. That's Sid, right? Correct. Was Sid Zevitz an integral part of your life, Albus? Yes, he was my best friend. We were practically like brothers, ever since we were children. Does Rudo take issue with the fact that I have these memories? Well, they certainly don't put him in a good mood, that's for sure. Sorry. Just let me give you one word of advice, okay? Okay? Do not ever cause any trouble. I'll be frank with you. Rudo has been wanting to dispose of you under the guise of dismantlement. He will find the slightest excuse to do so, regardless of how minor or trivial the reason is. Is that because of the memories inside me? That's right. Look, sir. I want you to listen carefully. If and only if you're about to do something wrong, consider that you are betting your entire being on the line. Do it with that resolve. That will be the end of everything. My entire being? That's right. You seem to have an ego, a proper sense of self-identity. There will come a time for you to assert that sense of self. I'm sure of it. Myself? But am I not the property of Zevitz Enterprise? If that's the case, then shouldn't I have the right to bet myself Then I shouldn't have the right to bet myself, do I? If only you weren't just a machine. This is important. You'll come to understand someday or another. Another year passed. Lab 9 was able to produce 3 new prototypes using Sarah as their model. However, not a single one operated as well. There were clearly something fundamental. Sneeze. I was dying. There was clearly something fundamentally different about how Sid had created Sarah. Far too much time had passed since, with us not knowing what it really was. The board of directors had split between those who wanted to observe and those who wanted to dismantle Sarah. Some members switched from observe to dismantle. This was about a month ago. With that, Sarah's disassemblement seemed all the more a reality. As the days went on, Sarah's intellect grew rapidly. Using her own methods to measure and improve efficiency in both the mines and the routine work in residential areas, she began to finish her tasks ahead of everyone else. That kind of work ethic and behavior was just like runes. Exactly like runes. From there, more and more people began to develop a disgust for Sarah's very existence. I think it was because she was too different. There was something about her existence that triggered something in you instinctively. Just like Rune did. A great deal of people considered her a threat subconsciously. The one who hadn't been affected by this was none other than Rudo himself. Rudo! Is it true? Did you erase Sarah's memories?
It was like access to Sarah's brain is protected by several layers of security. Both Thor, Nidser, and Kirky managed to find a way to bypass the first level.
I'm not asking you to explain how. I'm asking why you erased her memories. All of the experience, the information, the knowledge she's accumulated.
Albus, you should have realized this by now. It seems that Sid succeeded in recreating Rune's memory quite faithfully in Sarah. How he managed to do so, I have no idea. The way she moves and acts, they're all very reminiscent of Rune's own behavior.
What does that have to do with why you erased her?
What does that have to do with it, you ask? Plenty. If, by some chance, even a small portion of Rune's own personality exists within Sarah, then there could be no greater threat. I'm sure you're fully aware of how dangerous Rune was.
But...
I'd like to hear an explanation for all this. Do enlighten me on why things have turned out this way. I'm sorry, sir. I have honestly no clue. Theoretically, all our methods should be working. You do know what your name is?
Yes. My name is Sarah. It was given to me by you, Rudo.
Looks like it's not working. That's strange. We're doing the eraser procedure by the book. There shouldn't be anything wrong with it. So, Rudo, this is just a guess, but we probably need the highest level of access privilege in order to erase the memory inside Sarah's core. We can't do that with only our mana signature. What about purging the internal mana altogether? If we did that, it would most likely cease to function. That's not just a likelihood. It's gonna completely and utterly shut down. It'll be as good as scrap. Dismantling it would be the least of our concerns. So Sid, I'm honestly not sure as to why to expect all these complex safeguards were put in place. It's almost as if he's making sure no one.
Albus.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Stag, give one line for. It's almost as if he's making sure that no one could ever tamper with it.
Indeed. Damn.
What should I...
If your memories haven't been erased, then you ought to know already. Go back to work. Leave.
You gotta be mean to Sarah, what the fuck? Sarah, what's wrong at this time of night? Albus, you said that Sid was your best friend and integral part of your life, right? What brought this on all of a sudden? Friends are important, right? Well, of course they are. There isn't anyone more important in your life than your family and friends. Thank you. Sarah, why of all times for you to cause trouble, why at this critical point? You knew there was going to be a violation regarding your 4 days from now on. Or a votation. I remembered.
Yeah.
I remembered the advice you gave me a long time ago. Advice.
Good grief, what is it this time? I swear, another emergency summons. Oh, Sarah. What, don't you even know how to greet someone?
Good afternoon, Mr. Growlies.
This really is nothing but defective piece of junk. I heard you even stole sediment at the mines earlier. What an absolute waste. We should really have just have you dismantled as soon as possible.
I apologize. Discussing that matter is exactly why we've gathered here today. Please, reserve your arguments for the time the other members have come.
And just how many do you expect even to come? You academics in your ivory tower may not know, but the other members of the board of directors are already speaking as if dismantlement has been assured. You ought to be grateful that I've even bothered to go to the effort of attending this meeting to confirm all this.
Sorry. So, that's how it is. You know, I kind of forgot these two were in the plot. It's been so long. I thought this was the fucking Sarah Rudo show.
It is.
Oh, fuck, hell yeah. Wait, does that mean that once again the tabletop woman is once fucking again the assistant to the actual protagonist? No! I can't keep ending up this way.
Not in the case of the tabletop, no.
Okay, cool. I'm just Gar's fucking assistant. That's it. Yeah, you don't seem to quite grasp. This entire series of events has truly been bizarre. What Sarah is exactly, yes? Indeed. However, I absolutely do not want to see her dismantled. Something inside tells me so. Tomorrow, her dismantlement will be decided upon. I must come up with a way for protecting her from that after our meeting. Is that even possible? Isn't the board of directors or something going to determine that by majority vote? If Udo, for some reason, changes his mind, then I'm sure the direction of the entire meeting will change as well. Then there are many members who don't really have an opinion and will simply go along with whatever he decides.
Albus,
Yes?
please, let me speak with Rudo.
I was actually thinking the same thing. But I'm sure you already know that, right?
Correct.
Albus's suggestion. We perform a mind dive on Sarah. If we did that, then we can find out Sarah's real identity. However, when it came to Celesthine's desire to perform the mind dive,
It's alright, Returner. I'm sure he'll understand.
Celestine had her own plan, which she only kept to herself. Even I was unaware of what she had in mind. With an only lingering trace of doubt, we headed over to Lab 9, where Rudo was. So, this is a laboratory measure of a girl. Oh, now Ken shows up. Gotta get measurements. I got you.
This is not the time.
It's never the time. I thought it was rather unsettling when we spotted it as we roamed downtown. But it seems science doesn't mesh well with me. It only caused me too much discomfort. Let's head inside.
Who?
Bruto.
Albus, I believe we have a strict policy on not allowing any outsiders into the lab, do we not?
This isn't the time for that. I have something important I need to discuss with you.
Can it not wait until tomorrow? I'm in the middle of putting together a presentation and reports regarding Sarah's dismantlement.
That's exactly what I'm trying to talk about with you. I want you to reconsider this matter.
How desperately are you going to cling to that thing? Isn't it about time to let it go, Albus? Regardless of what you do, the opinion of the board of directors is not going to change. Don't you have more important things to do?
I didn't come here to change the opinion of any members of the board. I'm here to change yours.
What?
We want you to see Sarah's dismantlement.
And here I was expecting you to say something else entirely.
But these two people are Minecrafters. This girl, Celestine, she used a craft that allows people's consciousness to communicate directly. That craft gives her the ability to let people share memories directly with each other.
Uh-huh.
Do you understand what that means, Rudo? With this, we can see into Sarah's memories and find out who she truly is. Don't you see? The question of Sarah's identity can finally be solved.
I don't see, Albus. Let us say, hypothetically, that Sid Shevitz managed to restore Rune as a model and implant her into Sarah. What purpose would it serve?
For all we know, she may have inherited Rune's memories. How Sid accomplished it, I don't know. Maybe it's not exaggeration to say that she may be Rune herself.
Enough with the sorry excuses. And what would lead you to that conclusion in the first place? Regardless of the circumstances, there is no changing the fact that Sarah is a machine. It is nothing more than a prototype of a sister. An automaton whose development was consumed vast amounts of Zevit's enterprise owned finances. The fact is, Sarah is an object.
But still.
If I may?
Celestine had been quiet the entire time, but she suddenly speaks out.
Whether or not she's a machine has nothing to do with this.
Yeah?
The issue at hand is whether or not she is Sarah or Rune. Albus, Rudo, both of you here have forgotten something crucial here.
Something crucial?
Yes.
Which is what exactly?
For starters, I'd like to propose my conclusion that she is Rune.
How did you come to that conclusion?
Simply based on what Sid had felt, there is no other possible conclusion.
There is no way that outsiders like you could have known what my father was thinking.
But I do. Through our dive with Albus, we were able to see Sid's way of life, his entire existence. Sid did not just shut himself in the lab, losing his sanity to desperation. I'm sure he did so to research a way to give your little sister Rudo, a second chance at life. He created a heart for her missing emotions. For his own daughter, that so-called hellspawn, he used the path down.
path down? I see. If there was a scientific equivalent to the path down, that possibility would be very likely. Treasuring Rune's memories is exactly what the path down is. Or transferring. How did I not notice this before?
And if she has emotions, then this entire issue is not even something we should be discussing, regardless of whether she is Rune or Sarah.
With dignity beaming from her eyes, Celsian speaks straight at us with a clear voice.
It is wrong to deprive her of her will as a being in possession of a mind, heart, and spirit. Being a human or machine has no bearing on the matter.
I'm sure I'll remember this very moment. A long time from now. Third game, it'll happen. Then when this justice was able to penetrate, regardless of any country's borders.
Nonsense.
Bruto, perhaps you've realized it. That Sid created Sarah to give Room the emotions that she never had.
Absolute nonsense.
If so, this may be the great precedent that could affect just what our definition of human is. If that's the case, then this is no longer a problem confined to just us. Zephyt's Enterprise has the right, no, the duty, to confront this ethical issue straight on.
Enough nonsense from you. Sarah does not have a heart. Let's just pretend that were true. Even then, Sarah is completely cut its emotions off whenever it's ordered to do something. Sarah is able to completely cut off its emotions whenever it is ordered to do something. You can't say anything has a heart, but it can just turn its emotions on and off as easily as flipping a switch.
That's...
None of you understand. The kind of being my sister was. What was lurking behind her smile. Her senseless, meaningless acts of evil. If Sarah has inherited Rune's memories and personality, then there couldn't be anything more dangerous.
Still, if Sid succeeded in artificially creating emotions using mana, then...
Enough of this foolish speculation. Why don't you use those theories of yours to write a novel or something? Now, if all of you excuse me, I have more pressing matters to attend to.
Rudo. Confound it all, Rudo. We're not done here.
Ruto, if Rune was reborn with emotions, with a heart, then who would you be able to accept her as your own little sister? It has already come to a point where there is no clear-cut right or wrong answer. However, as someone who stands above everyone else, you have the right to make that decision. As if you know anything.
Is this all? All that we could have done?
The sun, it's rising.
Oh no. Did the fucking Link thing. The final day. Don't make that face, Sid. Your smile is so much more wonderful.
You expect me to smile? Like this? How could you smile at a time like this?
Who knows? I'm not sure either. I'm sure it's because I've just run out of tears to shed.
Aline, I'm so sorry. Really? I've always been so caught up with work that not once did I ever do anything for the family.
What brought this on all of a sudden?
If only I'd been there for Rudo and Rune. If only I spent more time with them, then all this would never have happened. Ditching my family for my work. I'm just like my damn dad.
Don't say that, Sid. It's not like you to regret the things you've done. I don't want to see you all weak like this.
I just don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do anymore. Damn it.
Tell me, Sid. Rune's issue. Were they some kind of sickness? I've always thought to myself, if that girl had a heart, would she have lived a more normal life?
I can't say for sure. Maybe that really was real. Honest to goodness. Maybe that really was her real, honest to goodness personality. And if we managed to cure the flaw of runes, who knows what would change inside of her.
I see.
Like, does not having emotions really turn someone into that much of a mess? Does that mean that we're born selfish and arrogant and messed up, and emotions are just a way to stop us, to keep us all in check? Heck, if I know.
You're right. Hey, Sid, could you tell me something? Do you hate Rune?
I don't know. Hate ain't the right word for it. It's just that I feel so helpless and miserable. Well, if you ask me if I hated her or not, then I guess I might have. If it weren't for Rune, then our family'd still be whole. Or so I think. But that's a thought I can't really hold on to for long. So I'm just left with nothing but feeling miserable. That's all. What about you?
At first, I didn't really feel anything. I was just in a daze. It was like my entire world had been engulfed in a mist. I lost sensation in my entire body. I had no words, no feelings, no thoughts. I could barely consider myself conscious. Nothingness. That was it. But as some time passed, it felt like I was attacked by a deep nausea. Like I was going to throw up while I had a piercing headache. It made me question why I was even still here at all. It made me hate the fact that I was even alive. I wanted to die. Just living was painful. So painful. I'm sure I just didn't even know what to think. But you know what's strange? It's strange. Even after all the pain and hardship and suffering that Rune made me go through, the more I thought about it, the more I realized I just couldn't come to hate Rune. I just wanted to talk with her one last time. To ask her what thoughts she had as she lived. To know what was going through her mind when she put an end to that short life of hers. To simply ask for her forgiveness for not trying to understand her. I'm so sorry, Rune. Sorry that you had someone like me for your mother.
What the heck? Why are you apologizing like this? You didn't do a single thing wrong.
Don't lie for me anymore, Sid.
Everything you've done was always for the kids. You're a damn fine mother.
No, the one who I've been thinking of was myself. After the Growlies incident, Rune finally settled down. Thought to myself that everything would go well. And finally have a normal family life is what I thought. But I think I had already realized it. That something was just slightly off. It's ever so subtle that the discomfort could go in a blink of an eye. But if I ever put that feeling into words, admit, if I even once admitted that feeling, then our days of peace and quiet would just shatter and fall apart. That's what I thought. I was so scared. Why, I subconsciously pretended to not notice. I was simply chasing after an illusion, nothing more. A stupid illusion of a perfect, ideal family. In the end, the only person I was thinking about was myself.
It's all in the past, Elaine. You can only say that because all this happened. You've lived your entire life for your family's happiness.
I won't believe you for a second if you said you were only ever thinking about yourself. But the MRI results were right there. And more importantly, even Rudo told me about her. Rune's behaving strangely, he told me. How'd I respond? Be nicer to her. I spoke as if it weren't even my problem. I didn't listen to a word of what Rudo said. I was taking advantage of Rudo's kindness. He's got his act together. I can just leave it all to him, I thought. Because of how strong Rudo was. I left him to deal with Rune. All of his worries. He just balled up inside of himself. Even though I'm sure it was painful for him. He did all that for my sake.
Elaine?
I don't even know what to think. Please don't leave Rudo alone, Sid.
Yeah. I promise you. Then he locked himself in the lab.
I was about to say, and then he fucking turned her. I mean, how else is he gonna make the robot? I'm just saying. Take care of yourself and ease up that research of yours. Because once you're gone, Rudo really will be all alone.
Rudo will never be alone. I promise you that.
What I can remember is an interest in the outside world. And a frustration with the fact that I couldn't escape this island. This bird cage called the Outer Pole. Frustration. I think is what it was. I thought everything was just so unfair. I didn't know how to express that feeling. Everyone around me had something, an objective that would drive them to continue their day-to-day lives. But me? I was completely empty. The first time I'd experienced something akin to emotion was when I saw a bird twitching on the side of the road as a child. Perhaps it was attacked by another animal. Deep red blood seeped out of its neck as it convulsed. And eventually, the bird stopped moving altogether. Some kind of feeling from deep within my chest desperately attempted to emerge. The onlookers voiced their pity for the bird. I said it was funny. Everyone stared at me with the strangest looks. After seeing death right before my eyes, I wanted to see it again. I wanted to feel that feeling again. In hindsight, perhaps that really was pity. I wasn't even able to distinguish such a simple emotion. After observing the other people around me, I was able to mimic their own behavior. When I was a child, I was confined to the house. There were a lot of people who were always around. They were my mother and my brother. My mother had a weak constitution, but whenever she spoke, she was very energetic. Although her body was weak, her spirit was strong. She was a very warm person. I don't know how to respond to that. I didn't know how to respond to that warmth of hers. There was nothing stranger and more alien to me than her unconditional love. I couldn't even begin to comprehend it. My brother, even though he spoke gently, he always had a scowl on his face. And it was well deserved, because I was constantly causing nothing but grief. Despite all that, he still worked hard, every single day at Zevit's enterprise. Even though no one expected anything of him, he continued to diligently toil away in the shadow of his little sister. He was constantly anxious, being compared to his father by everyone around him. Always afraid of having succeeded his father, Zevitz, who was a multi-talented one-in-a-million prodigy. The barrier he had to scale reached all the way to the heavens. It was impossible. Rudo himself knew this and still chose to try and surmount it. He constantly aimed for the summit, not even knowing he could never make it to the top. I remember that upon seeing that brother of mine, within me rose a powerful desire to destroy it all. In hindsight, perhaps I looked up to him for his persistence and grit to take on even the toughest challenges all by himself. All I could ever do was to mimic others. I was frantically trying to reconstruct a present. While on the other hand, my brother was fervent and single-minded in forging a path forward. I was just so jealous of that. Looking back at all this, there really is just a hair's breadth of difference between all kinds of emotions. I actually was driven by those strange alien things called emotions after all. But I am the one who killed my mother. And I'm the one who ruined my father. And I'm the one who caused my brother to suffer. Dad? Why did you bring me back to this world? Did you bring me back here just so I could wallow in despair? Is all this my atonement? If only it had been slightly different, then I wouldn't have caused all these people to experience such pain and suffering. I've done so many things I could never take back. I've committed so many wrongs that even my death could not hope to absolve. I was truly a being that should never have been. But then, what am I? Is the man I consider my father truly Sid Zevitz? Was the person I had always stared empty at truly my brother Rudo? Are my memories Rune's memories? Rune is someone who should never have been born. But then, that means I should never have been born. Am I Sarah? If I am, then that means I'm only borrowing these memories from Rune. And if that's the case, then just what exactly is Sarah? Nothing makes sense anymore. But there is one thing I know. I don't want to cause Rudo any more trouble. If he truly finds my very existence contemptuous, then I would gladly die? Be destroyed? What am I, really? If only. If only I could have seen Miss Cellophane and Miss Ritona one more time. I wanted to tell them goodbye. Why are you making me feel bad, Kane? What the fuck? I was here for a funny visual novel about girl games. What the fuck?
I'm not ready for this.
Oh no.
Sorry.
It gets worse. I was on the verge of tears back at the fucking dude, back when the mom was dying, man. I can't. Shit. Yes?
Sorry, just one last bit.
We're almost there.
The dismantlement will be determined by a collective vote tomorrow. Return to Lab 9 and stand by there for the remainder of today. Head straight to Lab 9. I've already informed Vothal and the others. Follow their orders.
Understood. Master Rudo, thank you for everything.
I believe I ordered you to switch off your emotions.
I couldn't. I tried so many times, but it seems I don't have the permission to do so.
If you couldn't do so, then why did you still follow with my order? How could you abide by my illogical, preposterous orders without a single word of complaint?
Because that is what you desired of me.
Why? Why are you smiling?
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. I'm fucking gonna die. Because I'm happy.
What?
I've always been taking things away from you, but now I can finally give you something that you've always wanted.
Something I've always wanted.
The possibility of me becoming Rune will cease to exist. I've thought about just running away so many times. I've thought about my death, my destruction. But if I disobeyed your orders, then you would end up shouldering the responsibility for my actions. Finally the time has come that I am no longer needed.
If you have emotions, do you not feel fear? Aren't you afraid?
I am afraid. Very much so. So afraid that I just want to run away this very minute. But what I fear even more is that my existence will only serve to cause you even more pain.
What?
I know. You're a really nice, kind person. You were always watching out for your little sister. I'm sure that back then, she didn't realize just how dearly you thought of her. But now, I'm sure she can understand.
Just how much of Rune's memories have been restored inside of you?
I do not know. As time passes, fragments of the memories are slowly coming back to me. But as for whether those are truly my memories, there's no way for me to tell.
What? Just what in the world are you?
I don't know anymore. Not a single thing. But the one thing I do know... Oh no. Rudo.
Oh no.
don't want to see the next line. It's gonna hurt me. Ooh. Okay. Rudo. I'm just the girl that admires you as my brother. But I don't even know what that means.
Damn it.
Rudo will never be...
Rudo.
Oh, that's actually said. I fucking forgot.
Yeah. Rudo will never be alone. I promise you that. Damn it. Dad, you son of a bitch. Rune.
Will you call me Rune? Is it okay? Is it okay if I could call you brother again?
Do whatever you want.
You mean it? Brother, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. I don't know who's talking. I assume it's Rudo.
I think it's you.
Okay. For me, now I really can't tell if it's Sid or not.
Okay, it might be Sid.
I think it's...
There's a formula I've never once calculated right before my eyes.
Oh no, it was me.
I think one processing could ever keep. Oh no, yeah.
Okay. There's a formula I could never once calculate right before my eyes. I don't think my processing could keep up with it. I think this is the source of the noise that's always been deep inside my heart. The emotions behind my destructive tendencies from before. My feelings for you as my brother. Why didn't I notice it sooner? The equation is so vast, I could just break down. Yes, it's exasperatingly simple. What do people call this feeling? At first, I wish that I'd never given birth to Rune. I wish that I'd never left my hometown, moved to Cadia, and worked with Zevitz. I wish that I'd never met you, that I'd just stayed and took over the family business. I wish that I'd never had anything to do with the name Zevitz. That a life like that would have been much better. But you know, that's impossible. I'm so glad I have you, Rudo and Rune. I love you all so madly from the bottom of my heart. So just thinking about it is depressing. A life without that girl. I couldn't possibly imagine that, even if I wouldn't end up like this.
We've
had our ups and downs. But I'm so glad I met you. I'm so glad I gave birth to Rudo. And even though the world may never forgive us for it, I'm so glad I gave birth to Rune. I'm so glad to have lived.
Ellie.
I love you, Sid. It was a fun life.
Ellie.
Everything's in your hands now. Ugh, got some tears out of me. Gabe can't do that. I wasn't here to feel emotions. Is it over? Did I make it through?
I have a favour to ask. Yeah. That's alright, we're past it now.
Oh, thank God. My heart, it could barely take anymore. Yeah, I'll have to do that again. I have to round my
Not until the second game.
Oh, cool. I'm in the tabletop. I got to round to that. And then also...
No, this won't be the tabletop won't be as powerful as this.
Okay, cool. So I just have to worry about Digimon then. Okay.
I have a favour to ask of you two. Would you take my little sister, Rune, along with your travels? She's always wanted to travel the world. As you can see, she isn't human, so she isn't subject to mana shock. Rune can go whenever and wherever. I'm sure she'll be of use to you.
Whether or not she's of use is of no consequence. So of course we'd be happy to have her come. Come with us. Victory pose!
Cellophane!
Oh yeah, I'm going now.
She truly is a fascinating girl. It's hard for me to express the sentiment, but if I had to put it into words, just looking at her gives me peace of mind. With my position, I've had to handle a great deal of responsibility at a young age. I'm confident as a good judge of character. Sophie has no hidden agenda, and no ulterior motives, as if she understands her sense of justice so well that she doesn't need to contemplate before acting on it. And a strong sense of curiosity gives off a strange but attractive radiance about her. Decades ago, the man who founded Chevet's enterprise possessed that same radiance. Something which I do not have.
Rudo.
Return now.
What is it? Being called by name all of a sudden feels rather off-putting.
Take this with you.
What is this?
It's a device that uses technology to recreate that so-called comcraft that you use. It's currently undergoing development. Using a certain wavelength in the mana stream called radio waves as a medium, it can be used to send messages and information.
Is that even possible? Just how far do the capabilities of science extend? But as you've seen, the distance to our homeland is considerable. The burden of using mana to maintain a long-distance stream will have to fall into one of the two parties, otherwise it'll be cut. Rune is certainly out of the question, and you can't use your own internal mana as well, so how will that be maintained?
We will use sediment. As long as we continue to provide a constant supply to maintain the line, and I suppose there should be no trouble.
Oh, I suppose. Constantly using purified mana every single day? And it's even more valuable than precious metals? How much financial strain would that be, I wonder? At the very least, it's certainly not something that any one individual could possibly afford. Oh. I see how it is now. Even though you're the leader of the company, wouldn't that problem with the board of directors if you were to use up that much money?
Why would that be a problem? This is merely a new field test of the new product's prototype.
He answers nonchalantly as he puts a smug smile on his face.
If we can prove the effectiveness of this technology, if we can bypass the use of boats and the postal system altogether, we will be able to get in contact with the other regions of the Outer Pole. Failed plans that my father and Albus had for market expansion will no longer be a dream once again. Furthermore, seeing as the company's unwanted baggage, which has caused us many a headache, will finally be disposed of, I expect there will be no issues whatsoever.
Eloquently put. Seeing Rude articulate with such life, such animation, I think to myself, since the dive, he seems to be the type that never lets his guard down. Despite his age, there's no better word to describe this man than cunning.
Besides, I'd rather not lose contact with her little sister.
For just a moment. I see. You do have a point there. Seems that Rudo's cold, sharp eyes had relaxed. Just a moment, if you please, Cellophane. Starts bouncing around.
What is it?
I just remembered something. Please wait for just a moment. I have something I need to tell Albus.
Sure.
Excuse me, Albus. What is it? Zevi Dick?
CV Dick.
Oh, I thought that was it.
Ah, I do have the bottle of this stuff, yeah. It's been 2 years since someone's had me bring it in, so I was thinking of just tossing the damn thing out. Didn't expect it to be yours, Mr. Falster. Here you go.
There's a note.
Sup, Albus? If you're reading the note, that means everything went perfectly. I'm sure you've got all sorts of questions, but there's something I've got to do right now, Albus. I'm sorry. Sorry for not telling you anything, but it was something I had to do. I made a promise to Aline that I'd never let Rudo get alone. I'm sure he already had an inkling, but I didn't have much longer to live. But I had a duty to leave Rudo with family. What should I have done? Mana research was something I'd been doing long before I had a family. I dedicated my entire life to it. How ironic. I get killed by the research I loved, while I threw aside what I should have protected most. And one day I remembered. It was something I've written down in a book I'd read long ago. A method used by royalty in the inner pole to pass experiences and memories down to their descendants. It's a ceremony called Path Down. The Path Down is a special kind of mana craft only royalty are able to use. But then I thought to myself, as long as it uses mana, there's got to be a way to recreate it using our science. Through my research, I've discovered 2 unknown properties of mana. 1, the purified mana of a human will remain inside a person long after death. 2, in general, this mana can be subdivided into 3 types: memories, experience, the 2 of which form emotions, all of which are saved in that mana. I've decided to call this memory mana. When mana craft was still in its infancy, people back then would mummify their royalty and stuff, right? That kind of practice might have been so that they could keep the person's mana inside the body for as long as they possibly could. Well, anyway, I succeeded in extracting the memory mana from Rude's body and transfer it into the body of a sister. I managed to create a sister that could inherit Rune's mannerisms perfectly. But then, there was a problem with that plan. If she didn't have any emotions, then she'd turn out exactly like Rune had. There'd be no point in that. So I figured out the best way to extract emotions from my own memory mana. I decided to give the mannerisms that form the emotions inside me all to her. And then there was a problem with that too. See, we're people from the outer pole. This is craft that only royalty from the inner pole can use. I knew if I tried to pull something like this off, my body couldn't handle it. If you extract a huge amount of mana from your body, you'd die from some kind of reverse mana shock, and that'll be that. But you see, I really didn't have much longer left in me anyway. So I decided Lab9's protocol would be the trigger to my own version of the Path Down. Memory mana. Maybe this is what people refer to as the soul. The machine that inherits runes memories and carries emotions. Just who would that be? To be more precise, what would that be? People will fear it. I'll probably be called a blasphemous heretic for toying around with the deceased. But you know what? Mana hides too many possibilities to imagine. It's filled with too many outcomes to understand. As we humans continue our research into mana, I'm sure we'll encounter these problems. Beings that inherit memory mana. What exactly are they? Mana will likely only bring more of these ethical issues to light. I've said it as such that her emotion imitation mechanism can't be cut off, even by our own self. And I've deleted all logs so that it can't be copied. Sorry, that's just my ego at work. I thought to myself, maybe it's too soon for the world to accept a being like her. But the fact you're reading this memo means that wasn't entirely the case. I mean, at least there's one person in this world who's willing to accept her as family. Well, that's that. Stay well, Albus. P.S. From the moment I met you, you've always been family to me, until the very end. No matter what happens, nothing's ever going to change that fact. That's how it's been, and that's how it's going to be. But I suppose that isn't enough for me. It isn't enough for how you feel. Sorry I couldn't return your feelings. You're just too damn obvious.
Ooh, round 2 on my feels, huh?
Yep. Are we all ready to go?
Okay, give me 1 second.
Sorry, I forgot that one.
Yeah, God, you fucking... Chapter 7 was just one fucking wombo combo of my heart. Alright, give me 1 second. I need to feed my buddy's cats. Alright. Back from the top. Yep. Best scroll room, always coming back to.
There's a port just a little north of here. You can take a ship that'll ferry you to the mainland.
Sulfine? Rotona? Look, I even got some money from Rudo. Are you sure about this?
With the money you have left, you wouldn't have enough to pay for the 3 people's fares. Additionally, we'll be headed to a different country than here, in Cordone. They, of course, use different currency than we do in Cadia. I've included their own mint as well.
My goodness. Oh, you got us perfectly covered. Thank you for your kind consideration. We'll put it all to good use.
Well then, I hope we can meet again someday.
Okay, everyone, let's get going. Thank you for everything, Rudo.
Thank you, brother.
Alright, we're off to our next destination. Let's go, go, go!
Yeah. Wait, stop, you two. Jeez. Rudo, just a word of caution. We don't know when Rune will ever return here.
I don't mind. She's free now. I want to let her do whatever she desires. If she does come back, then I'll look after her again.
He really is quite the kind, compassionate fellow. Whew. Feels like we've been on quite the adventure, even though we've been here less than 4 days.
Rotona, hurry up, let's go!
We're gonna leave you behind, Rotona. But this isn't bad at all.
You're right, it's not bad. We need something to happen.
Oh no. It's so refreshing that I might forget all about the mana shock. Don't wander off too far now, you two. And then Melody comes out of nowhere.
You're too slow, Rotona. Come on, hurry, hurry!
How dare you? Fine, fine. So, now that there are 3 of us are together again, there's something I'd like to ask the both of you. Vilserio of Celestine, Rotona.
Vilserio, Rune.
Vilserio. I'm just so excited right now, I don't even know what to do. Being able to adventure around the world with you two, it's like a dream come true.
Have you never gone outside of Cadia?
I've only ever really been to the mines. That's why I'm just so super excited. Energetic as always.
Can you blame her? Let her have fun. Heck, you're not excited enough, Rotona.
That's right, Rotona. We're on a journey here. You're losing out if you don't enjoy it. Right?
Right.
The perfect.
Hey, Rune.
Oh.
I'd love it if you could call me Sally from now on.
Sally? Are you sure? It's so informal.
Oh, of course I'm sure. We're friends, aren't we?
Sally? Sally.
Rune.
Oh, it's so cute. Melts your damn heart. Bring around.
Rune.
Bring around. Are you seriously gonna keep this level of enthusiasm the entire trip?
Alright, we've done everything we need to. Time to leave the outer pole. We gotta start prioritizing Rotona's condition right now.
I'm perfectly fine. More importantly, Celestine, we have something we need to tell Rune, don't we? Oh, something to tell me? What could it be? Seeing as you'll be traveling with us. Now, seeing as you'll be our comrade during our long journey back, we should inform you of our true identities.
Oh, right. I completely forgot about that.
Your true identities?
Yes, just calm down and listen, okay? The truth is, Returner and I are...
Oh no.
You know, I was joking when I said Malona's just gonna fucking orbital drop shock in to kick my ass.
She's here.
Oh no. We can take her. What was that sound?
That sound. Don't tell me.
This is from the wave of a mana shift. Okay, cool. And the concentration is intense. Just how much mana was used up here? This way. Follow me, but stay behind me at all times.
They're in front of her.
Well, shit. On both accounts. And you must be Resenine's princess, yes? Wait, princess? Good to meet you. My name is Malona. And nice to meet you. Oh, well, I'll be. Wait, could you be that bodyguard? Wow, I didn't think you were this young. Jeez, really, I'm just blown away, and you're a girl to boot. Woden's locked on for the harem. That one, stolen. Wow, what an amazing turn of events. What are you even talking about?
I'm sorry. Maybe you have the wrong person here.
Oh my, playing dumb, are we? And who's this girl with the twin tails? She's, Damn it, Rune, please don't say a word. You have the wrong people, miss. I've known these two my entire life, and I can tell you no, that none of us is a princess or a servant. Well, is that so? I haven't seen a girl as terrible at lying as you are in a while. Huh? I'm not lying at all. With the way you're stammering like that, I just wish I could believe you. Oh, but I guess it's not entirely a lie. At least you know how to script your response without being told, which means you're definitely friends. Malona approaches Rune and gently caresses her cheek. Oh, stranger danger. What are you doing? You're certainly an interesting person, aren't you? I see. This weak level of mana. This is not the outer pole, is it? And you're not a human, are you?
Little pop up.
Oh, oops. There we go. That's enough. This is the first time we've met, and already you think you can get so chummy with us. She's clearly repulsed by your actions. Oh my, I do apologize. I certainly didn't mean to. Sorry, but you have the wrong people. We're in a hurry, so if you'll excuse us. Come on, both of you.
Yeah.
Coming. What? It looks like the two of you outright hate me now. Oh, what a shame. I'd really wanted to chat a little more. Guess I have no choice. It's been so long that I've already forgotten that in this world exist beings whose hostility you could physically feel through your skin. Salphine Rosenhide. That feeling pierced through my skin like a needle. Your father, Vala Rosenhide. It was as if a single, swift moment changed an eternity, spraying myself unconsciously, as I felt her pure killing intent. Is dead by my hands. Who are you? Name yourself. Huh? You've even followed us all the way here. Introduce yourself. What do you want from us? I'm so happy. Now you feel like talking. Answer me. How did you manage to follow us all the way here? Let's see. There's this girl who really good at analyzing crafts. So I followed what she said, and what do you know? I managed to teleport just like you did. That's impossible. You just managed to do that? There's no way a lone human could stabilize the manaways and travel all the way here in a mere 3 days. But I'm right here, right in front of you. I followed you all the way from the third pole. And I found a more stable method than the stray effect that you seem to be using. Preposterous. Say what you will. Oh, no need to be so nasty. Forcing mental items to stabilize for the stray effect isn't something a normal person could have come up with. You're a real genius. Just that you've made enemies with the wrong person. Speaking down to me like that. Are you saying I'm inferior to you? This isn't about who's superior or inferior. Just that you and I, that between you and I exists the border between possible and impossible. Just who the hell do you think you are? The border of impossibility. Even of... Enough of your foolishness. Do you mean to call yourself a god? Who knows? I suppose that depends on your definition of what a god is. If you think all it takes to be a god is to be omnipotent, then I very well could be a god to you. What?
Hey, Rainvasta.
Huh?
You're making such a racket. Calm down.
Oh!
Now listen, I'll only say this once. Do not kill her yet.
So, this aura. Could it be? She's powering up. Sally?
It's the path down.
Oh no.
She's borrowing memories from someone who would be more suited to this
She's
situation.
fucking using the damn avatar
The
state.
Butcher Queen.
Oh! Bring it on, Cal.
Goodness, did you not hear me, Rainvasta? This is an order. Do not let her escape. Constrain her by all means, even if you must cut her arms and legs off.
Right.
I've got quite a few questions, you see.
The worst. The worst timing possible. Came at the worst part, so it came right at the ending. Oh wait, Seika Project. I think I've gotten a few things by these people.
Yeah.
There, it's like on my list. Damn, what a way to end it.
Yep.
So everyone's
Now you
got-
need to find out what happens next.
I know. But do we have the time?
Well, not right now, no.
Exactly. Such a shame. But by God. That was...
I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you want to do like half an hour just for like what's essentially the prologue of the second game, so you can see Milano do her thing.
No,
But that's up to you.
I don't know. I think what I might do is do a little bit of Road Trader.
Okay.
See, and just like to kind of test out and see if
Stream's fluid.
if the streams finally fix itself, or if I truly am cursed to visual novels forever. But that was good. I like that.
Yep. Just one more.
Just one more. Wait, does like one more scene or one more game?
One more game.
No. And what a game it'll be. How will they get out of this one? Will there be a third game? Is Malona still best girl in it? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Fucking Ratona out there with the best end credit outfit. What the fuck? Alright. But, yeah, I hope everyone had a very good time. I know we did. And we will see all of you in a couple minutes. Kane, I'm glad you were able to join us for this grand time. Hopefully tomorrow, depending on if I have that interview tomorrow or Tuesday, we'll hopefully be able to do some Digimon then. Since it didn't want to work tonight. We have to do the cooking stream again, Kane. We have to do the cooking. I have to voice Woden being really excited about eating a steak. Oh, big happy family we got here.
What could have been?
Such a shame. Oh, they had to give me with that one last gut punch, huh? Had to come in from downtown. Just not fucking slam dunk it. Alright. But yeah, it was a good time, chat. But like I said, we'll see all of you in just a moment. Later, mates.
Yep.